The Hurricanes blow into town. It assures an instant sellout. Georgia Tech's faithful hope the pregame carnival atmosphere can become a postgame party to celebrate an upset in Atlanta. Posed in New York, John, Craig, and Eric. Fellas, name of Hotlanta. It's 80, it's sunny, and there's a hurricane about set to blow into town. But the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech hopes they're equal to the task. They're a quarterback's worst nightmare. A lethal combination of speed, power, and attitude. The Miami defense has once again established itself as a dominant force in the college football landscape. Georgia Tech's Reggie is the one charged with heading his offensive unit into the eye of the Canes D. He has slain giants in the past, but do he and the Yellow Jackets have what it takes to downgrade the Hurricanes? It's an ACC showdown next. Things are about to get heated up on Grant Field. 55,000 plus on hand. As we welcome into the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT, it's the 4th-ranked team in the country, the Miami Hurricanes, into Atlanta against the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Hi, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. My partner, as always, is Bob Griese, and welcome to Atlanta. This is a Georgia Tech team that's 2-1. All their fans have been looking at this one on the schedule since it came out, with Miami being a new member of the ACC. And here comes a 3-0 Miami team, 4th in the country. And if you're in South Florida, they're grumbling. I don't know what they're grumbling about.
Well, they're not grumbling about the defense and the special teams, maybe a little bit about the offense. But this defense and the special teams has been special all year. And in the last 6 years, they have led the nation in non-offensive touchdowns. But they have one star, and that's Antrell Rowe, a preseason All-American who can make things happen in the secondary. But if Miami's going to win, they're going to need some offensive production, and they may get it today. I'm told on the field before the ball game that Kyle Wright, the redshirt freshman, will see some time today, probably in the 3rd series, but they need to get their offense. They're good enough defensively to win the ACC without the offense. They can't win a national championship with it.
Well, Georgia Tech can't win this game against Antrell Rowe and those kind of guys unless they get a great game out of their sophomore quarterback. He's still not 20 years old. Reggie Ball is going to have to be the man.
He came in here last year as a true freshman and started 13 games. He is starting his 17th game here today, and Chan Gailey told us yesterday, mentally he's coming along, but physically he has to do more. He has to get involved in the game. He has to make the easy throws, and he has to get involved by running the ball. It seems like when he runs the ball and gets knocked around a little bit, he plays better.
He may have to run it today. P.J. Daniels, the leading rusher in the ACC last year for Georgia Tech, will not play. So Reggie needs some help. I think Lynn Swann's got an idea where he's going to get it from. Swanee?
Well, I certainly do, Brad. They're going to get it hopefully from a freshman, number 21, Calvin Johnson. Now, his teammates have given him a nickname. They call him Neo. Neo in the movie The Matrix was one who was supposed to lead the humans to freedom over the machines. Well, there's only one problem. In order for Neo to be the one, he first has to believe in himself. And Calvin Johnson has to gain some confidence against one of the best defenses in the country. So the question is, can Calvin Johnson as Neo take on the Miami Hurricane defense as a Matrix? Part 1 coming up.
I never thought I'd think of Lynn Swann and Keanu Reeves in the same sentence and thought, well, there's a lot of Neos out there today. Some are all decked in gold. A sold-out crowd. Miami won the toss. They defer. Georgia Tech will get its hands on the football first. So we'll see Reggie Ball and Calvin Johnson and company immediately. Brian Monroe will tee it up. Levon Thomas and Demarius Bilbo are right and left on your screen, set to return. Big game in the ACC here in Atlanta, and it's underway. The high kick will go to Thomas a yard deep. Thomas brings it out, got the corner, across the 20, out to the 30, and spins his way out to the 33-yard line. Good-looking return for Levon Thomas, who you'll see a lot as a wide receiver today. 33-yard kick return.
Good start for Georgia Tech. Anytime you're outside the 25-yard line, that's a good start.
Here's Reggie Ball, and there's his numbers on the year. Came in, as Bob said, last season. Was not really expected to win the job. He just overtook the hearts of his teammates and his coaching staff, and he's been under center ever since. Tech will work from its own 33-yard line. Nate Curry is the motion man. And here's Chris Woods. And Woods breaks free into the secondary. He might take it. First play of the ball game. Woods down inside the 20, all the way to the 11-yard line. That's the way you take P.J. Daniels' spot in the backfield. Holy mackerel. 56 yards. First down, Georgia Tech at the 11.
And this is just running right at him. To the right side, the fullback gets a nice block. Gooden gets blocked, straight out of it. And this is just a good play by Merriweather to catch up and save a touchdown. Right at him. A physical, tough play that the offensive line loves to start a ball game.
It's Woods again off the right side, and this time nothing there. Maybe got a yard. We barely had time to tell you who's playing out there. Here's the big eaters up front for Georgia Tech on the offensive line, and they've already done a good job. Robinson, Brezina, Tidwell, Neal, Honeycutt, and Wallace. Brezina's the youngest in there. Woods, you've seen him, haven't you? Jimmy Dixon's a fullback, Williams a tight end, Nate Curry and Calvin Johnson are the wide receivers. And Bob, you start wondering right now here at the 11-yard line if Calvin Johnson, the guy Swanee talked about 3 minutes ago, might not be a receiver in the end zone here.
Well, he's tall. He's 6'4" and 225 pounds. He has 50 pounds on the cornerback, Jennings.
Demarius Bilbo's at quarterback, and he's going to run it. Bilbo inside the 10 down to the 7. Bob told you we'd probably see Kyle Wright. We didn't tell you until we wanted to see one play. Demarius Bilbo will play quarterback at times for Tech. Here's the defensive line. Baraka Atkins, Harris, Thomas, and Carroll, the front wall for Miami. The linebackers are young. They're all new, but they're good. McIntosh, Beeson, and Gooden. And the secondary led by Antrell Rowe with Kelly Jennings, the other corner. Street and Merriweather, the safeties. Randy Shannon's got to be in a little bit of shock already. And now it's 3rd down and 7. Tech can get a first down inside the 1. Calvin Johnson's to the bottom of your screen. Reggie Ball back in at quarterback. And he's in the shotgun. And he's going to run it quarterback draw. And that goes nowhere either. So Tech tried running it with 2 different quarterbacks. And now they're going to have to settle for a field goal.
Yeah, and that's a smart play, too. You know, they broke the long run with Woods. And I kind of got the feeling that if he didn't get in on the long run, that they wouldn't get in on the touchdown. If they get a field goal here, they'll be out 3-0 on Miami here. And you're at home. This is where you play, and Miami's offense not that good. This is important 3 points to get up on top first.
Travis Bell, 2 out of 3. You see how young he is. He won the kicking job in the fall practice. And it's up, and he just tucked it in the right upright. From the right hash, just inside the right post. And Georgia Tech on top early. Larry Coker's got to be happy that it's not 7-0. Great start for Georgia Tech, though, as they got a good kick return from Levon Thomas to the 33. Chris Woods took it inside the 15. Then they stalled and had to settle for the field goal. So Georgia Tech 60 yards in 5 plays. And there's a buzz in the stadium already.
There's a lot more buzzes than there are. They got everybody buzzing.
That's right. Larry Coker, in his 4th season, he's only lost 3 games. 38-3. Look out for this guy. This is the reason that Chan Gailey told Lynn and Bob and I yesterday, we're going to do everything we can special teams wise to not let this guy touch it.
So when we punt it, we're going to punt it away from him, and when we kick off, we'll try to kick it away from him.
So Kyle Belcher will tee it up. And back deep, Devin Hester and Darnell Jenkins. Even if you keep it away from Hester, Jenkins is no day at the beach. He's pretty good, too. They'll squib it, and it'll go to Hester at the 10. So he got it on the line drive, and here he comes the other way across the 35 and out to the 37-yard line. Almost broke free on that one, even though they squib kicked it. He still got his hands on it. Chris Dunlap made the stop on special teams. Brock Berlin will come out as the quarterback, as he's been his entire time. 14-2 as a starter, 13-2 as a starter at Miami. Of course, he also was at Florida before transferring. And there's Brock's numbers on the year.
He's a 7th rated passer, pass efficiency-wise in the conference.
First down for the Canes. They've got good field position to open up. They're going to throw on first down. Berlin's got a man wide open. It's his tight end Everett. And Kevin Everett, and that long line of great Miami tight ends, looks like he's the next one. He's got it to the 48 of Georgia Tech. Here's the offensive front for Miami. Up front, it's Winston, one of the best in the country. Tella, Joel Rodriguez, McMeans, and Chris Myers. The backs and receivers, Frank Gore, Talib Humphrey in there for Cobia, the normal starting fullback. Everett, the tight end, Moss and Roscoe Parrish, the wideouts. Ryan Moore, their leading receiver and leading returning receiver from last year, didn't even make the trip. He's out with an injury. And here's Frank Gore. Inside the 45 to the 44 against the Georgia Tech defense. And it looks like this. Georgia Tech got a big player back this week in Eric Henderson. He's one of the best in the ACC. Rado, Anoi, and Parker, the defensive ends, are the best of the group there. The linebacking core all new from a year ago as well. K. Michael Hall, Jarris Wilkinson's been moved from defensive line to middle linebacker. Chris Reese, the other linebacker. Houston and Scott are the corners. DeJuan Landry and James Butler, maybe one of the best free safeties in the country for Georgia Tech. 2nd down and 6. Berlin play action on a bootleg. He's got a man open again, and he got him. Complete down to the 34-yard line. That's a first down. Got it to Sonoris Moss. So Berlin off to a pretty good start, Bob.
I think they're ruling that he was out of bounds on the catch. I think that's going to be a good call. And you know, Miami, if they want to, there's 8 guys up as we take a look at this.
Oh boy.
I think they, and I know his feet were in bounds. I don't know about juggling the football. But Miami can throw outside all day because there's 7 and 8 guys in the box to stop the run.
3rd down and 6 at the Georgia Tech 44. Tech with a blitz. Flags are down as they blow this one dead. And it's going to go against Miami. So it'll be 3rd down and 11.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 68 on the offense. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
McMeans, the right guard, the guilty party, with a false start. So now it backs it up almost to midfield and makes it a little more dangerous for Larry Coker and his offense.
And it just increases the chances that Chan Gailey's the Yellow Jackets are going to stop this team, because 3rd and short, 3rd and 5 is much easier to pick up than 3rd and 11.
Quadrant Hill flanks Brock Berlin in the backfield. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Quadrant Hill picks it up, and Berlin picks up his receiver. It's a first down to Lance Leggett, the freshman, inside the 35. Good throw.
Yeah, I liked everything about that. Liked everything about that. Good pickup by Quadrant Hill and a nice pitch and catch on the receivers.
Can't ask your running back in shotgun to do any better than that block.
Watch the running back come over here and block as the square in over here. Quadrant Hill just comes over, picks up the guy, gives Brock Berlin time to play pitch and catch.
The catch was at the 34. First down Miami. Out of the eye now. And a draw play to Frank Gore. And Gore for a couple. And he's swarmed under by the Yellow Jackets. K. Michael Hall, one of the linebackers, is there. Frank's been a little bit banged up, and who can blame him? He's had major knee surgery on both knees in back-to-back seasons. So if he has to take a little time off, I think he deserves it.
I think that the short week going into Houston last week, a little arthritis in the knees, but he's had a long time to prepare for this one. And Larry Coker saying before the game that he's fine to go.
Remember, Miami played a week ago Thursday. Georgia Tech hasn't played since the North Carolina game 2 weeks ago. They've been trying to get the taste out of their mouth on that one since. Berlin, play action. Getting some pressure, and he hit his man right in the helmet. Frank Gore, incomplete. Let's get an update on another ACC team, Virginia Tech. Here's John in New York.
Well, they're facing a Big East team on this Taco Bell update. Vincent Fuller, a 74-yard return for a touchdown. And then this time he gets the interception, although that's not what you saw. Virginia Tech 19-13. Believe me, what I said is the case. I was wondering,
of course,
yeah,
for the national championship. Well, that happens sometimes in Virginia Tech, doesn't it?
there are not often that a team will go undefeated. Any team.
3rd and 8 Miami. 4 wide receivers. This one's incomplete. The deep out to Sonoris Moss is incomplete. Reuben Houston was covering for Georgia Tech. And now Miami's got to bring out their kicking unit. They've got a good kicker in John Petty. They're going to ask him to have one of distance here, though.
Yeah, this will test his reach. It'll be almost 50 yards.
They'll call it 49, though it's just a half a swing inside that 40-yard line from the right hash mark. Petty to try to tie things up in Atlanta. The kick on the way. And he got it. But just like that, Miami comes down the field, and they put 3 of their own up. 49-yard field goal has tied things up. We're not quite 5 minutes in Atlanta, and we're even at 3 apiece. There's where your educational dollar is going, Mom and Dad.
And yours pretty soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I've been through that. You're looking forward to it.
Oh, boy. Hot day, 80 degrees, sunny. And Monroe's kick will go to LeVon Thomas. This time he's 5 yards deep and will not return it. Reminder coming up Monday night. Join Al Michaels and John Madden and the gang in Baltimore as Priest Holmes and the Chiefs take on Ray Lewis and the Ravens. Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. 35th anniversary of Monday Night Football should be a good one. Kansas City in desperate need of a win. They've got the kind of guys like this fella that can high step it and get him some points. The problem is he has to go against one of the best defenses and a former Miami Hurricane with eyes like that, Ray Lewis. That's the Monday night matchup. And here's Georgia Tech's second series. This time, Chris Woods didn't find a big run. He lost a yard.
Miami defensively came into this game averaging only 80 yards per game to their opponents. That first run by Woods ate up a lot of that one.
Yeah, 12th in the country, Miami, with that 80 yards a game.
If Georgia Tech does anything well, it's probably run the football. They're 26th in the nation in running and averaging 205 yards rushing.
Woods is not a big physical guy, though, like P.J. Daniels, who'd normally be in there. Reggie Ball to throw, going long, overshot his intended receiver, Demarius Bilbo, and he had a half step back there. Bilbo, number 8, you've already seen him play in the Georgia Tech backfield. Now you've seen him as an intended receiver. He's a big target, a big fella, 6'3", 225. He thought he was going to be the Georgia Tech quarterback last year. Was kind of a shock to the whole city, actually, that he didn't win the job. Reggie did. And so now he's a wide receiver, running back, part-time quarterback, does a little bit of everything. He's too good not to have on the field.
Yeah, but we're going to see him play some quarterback today. He'll probably be around playing a few snaps at quarterback. You know, there's only a few shots down the field against this Miami defense. That was one of them. Yep. He had a step if he could have put the ball in there a little bit better.
3rd down and 11. Ball sets and fires and one hops it. Incomplete. Got some pressure coming in from Orion Harris, and Pata was there as well. And Georgia Tech will have to punt it away.
Well, young Reggie shouldn't be discouraged. Not many quarterbacks play well against this Hurricane defense. Coming in, only 41% of the passes were completed against that Hurricane defense.
Now Ben Art's in a tough spot, and that's the guy he's trying to keep it away from. Ben Art, one of 3 punters Georgia Tech had in fall practice, and he won the job. Let's see if he can do the job.
Good kick.
Hester has to shag it way over by the sideline and stepped out of bounds, so it was a good kick.
Excellent kick.
Not only kicked it perfectly to the sideline, Hester stepped out as soon as he touched it. 45-yard kick and no return. We'll return in a moment, though. We're tied up in Atlanta. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. The Hartford Mutual Funds, official corporate partner of the NCAA. Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10, which is what Miami will have right now at its own 36-yard line after an exchange. Georgia Tech had to punt. And now it's Brock Berlin's time again to go back to work with the offense. They'll give it off. Gore breaks a tackle, and Frank Gore out to the 44-yard line, got 8. It'll bring up 2nd down and short.
Miami went unbalanced line that time to the left, meaning that they brought their right tackle over to the left side to put him next to their big left tackle. I don't know what the left side of that line would have been.
The field was tilting that way a little bit. Over towards the left hash when you get Myers at 300 and Winston at about 316 over there. That's the offensive coordinator, Dan Warner, in the Miami booth. 2nd and short, a lot you can do for this play.
Good afternoon. I'm George Estevez in the Eyewitness Newsroom. We interrupt this game to bring you some breaking news. Right now, we're on the scene of breaking news. A trooper was killed over I-4. You're taking a look in the DeLand area, I-4 eastbound. That trooper was killed. Here's what we know. These are live pictures, first of all, from Sky Witness 9. Authorities have not released the name of the trooper. However, Channel 9 has learned that trooper is a man, and he is from the area of DeLand. Channel 9 has also learned he may have been trying to check on someone in that area of I-4, driving recklessly, and that may have contributed to the crash. Take a look. You're looking right now at investigators working that crime scene, a couple of trooper cars, and of course traffic is backed up eastbound. I-4 eastbound right now is backed up several miles, we're learning. So if you're heading in that area, please try to avoid I-4 heading eastbound. Take a look at that backed up traffic. It goes for several miles. Channel 9 Eyewitness News crews are on the scene, and of course we will continue to update you with any new information throughout the afternoon and the evening on Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Now let's take you back to the Miami Georgia Tech game.
They flushed him from the pocket, but offensively, Berlin makes the play. Berlin ran away, found an opening, kept his cool, and then threw it down the field for the 1st down.
And a 1st down at the 42 of Georgia Tech. 7.5 to go, 1st quarter. Gore left side. Got about 4. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 6 after we check in with John in New York.
Well, Brad, it's the Verizon Wireless update. Michigan facing Indiana. Chad Henne 40 yards to Jermaine Gonzalez on a picture-perfect pass. Michigan with a 7-0 lead. Brad, back to you.
Biggest game has been in Bloomington in a long time.
You know, that Michigan receiver is probably their 4th or 5th guy. I never heard of him.
2nd down and 6. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Gore running the other way, though, and he's got a lot of room. Down to the 26-yard line. So blitz came from the left. Gore went left, and he picked up 12 yards. Butler and Wilkinson in on the stop.
Here's McMeans right here. He's going to go this way. Watch the blitz from this side over here. McMeans pulls. Humphrey, number 41, gets a nice block. Running away from the blitz.
Perfect call, that spot. Now it's Gore off right tackle. Breaking tackles. Boy, Georgia Tech looked like they had him wrapped up after about a 2-yard gain, and he just powers his way down to the 20. There's Purdue, as you see, leading Notre Dame 20-3. Florida had a shootout with Arkansas. Here it's 3-3 with 6:15 remaining in the 1st quarter. Your Boilermakers might be pretty good, partner.
Yeah, you know, I knew they were going to have their hands full going into Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame this year. I think they're going to be a very good team.
2nd and 4, the 7th play of the Miami drive. Berlin with time. Down the middle, incomplete. Intended for Everett as tight end, and Butler back there. The All-American candidate at safety was right there with him.
Well, that was an option route by the tight end. He could either break it off or go straight up the field, and they weren't on the same page. Brock threw it down the field. The leading receiver for this Hurricane offense the last 2 years have been their tight ends. Yep. Shockey and then Winslow.
In the red zone, 83% scoring conversion. Not all of that touchdowns, obviously. That's been part of the problem. 3rd and 4. Here comes a blitz from the secondary. And it's Quadron Hill around the corner, and he got the 1st down. Nathan Burton pushed him out. Again, it seemed like the perfect play call, Bob, with the blitz coming from one side and the play going the other way.
Yeah, and I don't think that Miami is doing anything intentional. Especially this time, because the safety right here is just going to get up there, and there is no way that Berlin can see that and check it off.
So Gore did a lot of the work. Quadron Hill took it around the corner for the first down at the 12-yard line. Berlin, play action, wants a corner. Low throw to Parrish. He made the catch. Touchdown. Roscoe Parrish took it off his shoelaces, put the brakes on, and ran by Reuben Houston.
And Bob and Brad, if you look at the play, the referee came over immediately talking to the line judge, wanting to know from him, because he was in the perfect position to see whether or not it was a catch. He got confirmation that ball was awfully low.
We'll see it again after John Petty.
That was my thought too, Swanee.
Petty for the point after. Extra point is up and good. So Miami has its first lead of the day, courtesy of Brock Berlin to Roscoe Parrish. His first touchdown catch of the year.
Let's go back and take a look and see if it was a catch.
Awfully hard to tell.
The fans here in the seeing it on the scoreboard don't think so.
And Bob and Brad, right where Roscoe Parrish was looking at the ball, the official had a perfect angle from where I was on the other side. I am telling you, it was a tie.
Yeah,
his hands on the ball, the ball on the ground, about the same time.
Swanee, the ball is touching the ground. He may have caught the top half of it, but the bottom half of it and the nose of the ball is on the ground.
Yeah, looks like it. But what it is a 64-yard drive in 9 plays and a touchdown on the board.
So Miami has come out, and the first 2 possessions have scored on both their possessions.
Now the onus is going to be on the Georgia Tech offense to get something mustered. Other than Chris Wood's long run, they haven't done anything. Bilbo to the left and Levon Thomas to the right. Reggie Ball waiting on deck. Brian Monroe's kick. Again, we'll go to Thomas, but again, it's too deep, too far in the corner, and Georgia Tech will work from its own 20-yard line. Time now for a Jeep rushing playbook, Bob.
Yeah, sometimes the things just don't go the way they're drawn up. Now watch this play. It's supposed to go over our left guard. Now look at this. There ain't nobody. There ain't no hole there. But watch what the running back does. He stays with it. He slides and slithers through a little crack on the right side, on our right side, and is good enough to get away. You know, some things just don't go the way they're drawn up and the way we run them in practice. So he made a nice adjustment on his first carry of the ball game.
And that carry wasn't too bad either. Got 3 or 4 tough yards behind his right guard. So Woods, the guy that, as we said, not the size of a P.J. Daniels. P.J.'s about 212. Chris Woods, junior out of College Park, 190-pounder. There's what he's done so far. And he transferred from Morris Brown here in downtown Atlanta when they dropped their football program. So he became immediately eligible last year when he showed up here at the Flats. Reggie Ball trying to quarterback keeper again, and that has not worked for him or Demarius Bilbo. He got a yard, and Roger McIntosh, the outside linebacker, made the stop.
It's because of the active defensive line for the Hurricanes. The offensive line just can't handle them. Those are good plays and good design plays, but the defensive line at this point is handling the offensive line.
The Georgia Tech coach is talking this week about that defensive line that Bob's talking about being so fast that you do have to adjust your blocking scheme a little bit to even hang with them, or they'll be by you before you try to block them. 3rd down and 4. Woods in motion. Reggie Ball doesn't like the looks of the formation, and he'll call a Georgia Tech timeout. 4:13 remaining first quarter. Hurricanes on the road. They've got the lead on the Ramblin' Wreck, 10-3. Back in Atlanta, Georgia Tech called a timeout with a 3rd down and 4, and now they break the huddle.
I like this game so far. We've had 4 drives and 3 scores.
Reggie Ball in the shotgun with a 4 wide receiver group. Throws. Nate Curry's got it, and he's got a 1st down. Curry, their senior receiver, out to the 35. They'll move the sticks. We'll move to New York. Here's John.
And we'll move to the SEC, where Georgia is facing LSU. Georgia, some people think they can win it all this year. David Green, 25 yards to Reggie Brown. They strike first, up 7-0 over the defending national champs. Meanwhile, Notre Dame's 3-game winning streak is about to end, perhaps.
All right, John, thank you. It's a big weekend of football in this state. Woods, no gain on that one. That's a hell of a game they got going on about an hour northeast of here.
Yeah.
Athens, Georgia between the hedges has LSU. Miami here blowing into town to take on Georgia Tech. And the big one that took everybody's breath away last night, Parkview over Brookwood in a shutout, 10-0.
You can tell he lives in Atlanta, given that home score of the high school. But there were 4 pages of high school football sports in the Journal-Constitution this morning.
You're right.
4 pages. Good high school football around here.
That's the big rivalry here in town, and it was a heart stopper in front of about 12,000 fans. Ball and a bootleg, found an open man again. And this is Jimmy Dixon, his fullback. And Jimmy's got it across the 40 out to the 43-yard line.
It's only the 3rd reception for Dixon this year, and it's good that you throw to your fullbacks and your tight ends, because you know quarterbacks love to throw to the wide receivers, but if you can throw to your tight ends and your backs, you can move the ball down the field.
Jimmy Dixon might get more and more work today because he's a former tailback turned fullback. And he's got pretty good hands, as he showed there. Picked up 8 yards. 3rd down and 2. Big down for Georgia Tech right now to try to sustain a drive and get back in the ball game. And they're going to get the 1st down. Chris Woods put his head down and just kept his legs driving, and he's got it. McIntosh made the stop, but not before he got across the 45-yard line. So Georgia Tech with Chris Woods on the first snap of the game almost scored a touchdown. They had to settle for 3. Miami came right back down the field. John Petty's 49-yard field goal tied it at 3 apiece. Brock Berlin to Roscoe Parrish on a questionable touchdown catch makes it 10-3, and that's where we are. And we are happy to have you along with us with Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and the ABC crew. I'm Brad Nessler from Bobby Dodd Stadium, Grant Field in Atlanta. We got 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Reggie Ball. What a catch by Calvin Johnson, and he had Antrell Roll draped all over it. And you know, Swanee, we talked with Randy Shannon and asked him, will you keep Antrell Roll on Calvin Johnson? He said no way. He's been on him all day, hasn't he?
He has been on him most of the time all day. Just a couple of plays early in the series were the only time he did not cover him directly. What the coaches want to find out about Johnson is, can he make these kinds of catches? Have a defensive back of this caliber draped all over him and still come up with the catch. So far, in the first ball they've thrown to him, he's come up with the catch.
Well, the other thing Swanee want to find out is if he can beat the jam at the line of scrimmage.
Reggie Ball, little option play to Woods, trying to get to the corner. Wow, what a hit by Roll. Roll says, well, you know what? You gave up a pass, or I gave up a pass, but I'm not going to give up the corner.
Antrell Roll is an All-American candidate, preseason All-American. He is a cornerback. He has more sacks in his career than he has interceptions.
That's something else.
He is active.
That's the greasy stat of the week. He came up with that one at one of our meetings the other day. We all looked at each other and went, wow.
He got 5 sacks in his career. He got 4 interceptions.
He had a big tackle there. 3rd down and 2. Georgia Tech has converted 2 third downs in this drive. You can see where they have to get to, almost the 44. Ball to throw, and incomplete. Woods had made his cut and was open in front of the linebacker. It wasn't a good throw.
Well, it looked like he expected Woods to keep breaking to the outside. Woods just went out and turned to the outside. That's the problem when you put a running back out at wide receiver. The timing is not going to be there.
Well, you can see they're talking to the running back, and Patrick Nix, the offensive coordinator, was talking to Reggie as soon as he got to the sideline. As Georgia Tech had something going, now they've got to give it up. Devin Hester's waiting on it. Ben Arndt to punt. Again, he kicks it. This time off the side of his foot. He kicks it that way on purpose. Let's see where they spot it, though. They'll walk it up the sideline. I think it's going to be inside the 20 before they stop. They're still walking. And right at the 20. So he might as well have knocked it in the end zone. 27-yard punt is all that time. Ernie Els is the leader right now after 3 rounds at the World Golf Championships, American Express Championship. Tomorrow, join ABC Sports in Ireland for final round coverage. Starts at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific.
Kyle Wright is in the game for the Hurricanes.
So they stay with what they planned to do.
Right.
And that was put them in, as Bob said, the third after 3 series.
I think this is smart.
Well, here's the highly touted other quarterback. And the pile moves maybe 2 yards.
Kyle Wright is a redshirt freshman out of California who was highly touted coming to the Hurricanes. That didn't play at all last year and hasn't played much. He's only thrown the ball 3 times this year. But I think, Larry Coker's taken a lot of heat for the play of Brock Berlin.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good time to get him in the ball game because you're going to start needing to develop him for next year. Berlin and Crudup, the 2 top quarterbacks, are both seniors, and they'll be gone.
He can look at the field from the other end because the first quarter has come to a close. Good quarter in the ACC. Miami on the road, leading 10-3. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. Kyle Wright, as Bob said in the open, would play after 3 series, and is
the third series.
Yeah. And it's 2nd down and 8. Play action. He's in trouble. And down he goes. Chris Reese on the blitz around the corner. So there's a welcoming committee. Former strong safety, number 18, a junior out of Roswell, Georgia.
It's his first sack of the year. Here he is right here. Just comes on the outside. The fullback is the man that's supposed to pick him up.
Quadron Hill doesn't get a good block this time.
That's a tough job for Hill to pick up, too, because he's in I formation, and he's a long way. He's got to fake it and then get out to get him.
Ball is tipped, but it's caught, and it's a fumble. Miami got back on top of it, but it'll be 4th down. That ball was tipped. That was kind of a train wreck of a play from the get-go, but they did get the completion to Jala.
Well, that whole series was a little bit of a train wreck, and that's what happens sometimes when you take the momentum away. Berlin was doing well.
I said to you, I don't know if I do this. You said this is a good spot.
Hey, no matter if Berlin would have scored the first 2 times, if the Hurricanes would have scored or they've not, they were set up that Kyle Wright was going in the 3rd series, and you've got to do it. You've got to stick by your guns.
Brian Monroe to punt. Mark Logan is back for Georgia Tech, and they almost blocked the punt. Good kick, though. Logan waits on it at the 31. And he's hit immediately, broke a tackle. Oops, man, and then ran in. Is that McIntosh? Yeah. That hurts. So Miami, 4th ranked in the country with a perfect mark going into a new ACC stadium. And we talked to Larry Coker about the fact they've always got their bullseye on their chest.
That's the place you want to be. Let's just face it, because there's a reason you have that bullseye on your chest, and I think the reason is because, again, you've got a great tradition. Your program, a lot of pride in that program, a lot of success. We've won 5 national championships. I believe in the last 21 years we've played in the last 4 years all 4 of the BCS bowl games, and again, that's the place you want to be, where you have that tight bullseye on your chest.
Georgia Tech back. Throwing, intercepted. The receiver never turned around. Going back the other way is Greg Threet. Down the sideline, out of bounds. Had to be some miscommunication between Reggie Ball and his freshman receiver because he threw it right to Greg Threet.
Yeah, the only guy that saw that the whole way was Threet, and he picked it off. You lose outstanding defensive backs like Sean Taylor. Number 5 right there is picking him up and just sees the ball all the way. Threet and Merriweather are stepping in where the defensive backs that have graduated just left off. I mean, these young kids played a lot last year, but again, a big turnover sets up Miami in good shape.
That's the one thing Chan Gailey said. We got to play them even in the special teams, and we can't turn it over. Well, they just turned it over. Kyle Wright, his second series. Play action. Here comes Henderson. He lost one out for Moss, and he dropped it. Tyrone Moss had a touchdown, and he couldn't find it. What a break for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I like the play call. He just gets hit. Now, what Kyle Wright will learn the more he plays, first of all, Moss should have adjusted and stopped and come back and made the catch.
Right.
But before that, the quarterback should have slid around in the pocket, bought some time. In practice, he may not have had to do that, but in a game, it's a little bit different. He needs this experience.
Second down and 10. They give him an extra tight end or two and move them in motion at the 22-yard line. And he dropped the ball and covered it. And he's hit immediately by Eric Henderson again. So number 56 for Georgia Tech is starting to get warmed up a little bit too. He's one of their leaders on defense. ACC's sack leader from a year ago. Didn't play in the first 3 games this year due to injury. And he's kind of raising some havoc back there in the backfield for Miami right now.
He certainly is. 16 career sacks, 39 career tackles for losses.
Here's a dangerous third down for a young quarterback. 3rd and 14. And here comes the blitz. Flags are down. Wright running for his life, and they'll swallow him up at the 25. DeJuan Landry, the strong safety, made the stop. Again, looks like a holding call against the Canes, and it is. Now what do you do at Georgia Tech? Take this and back them up, give them another chance, but at least take them out of field goal range?
Well, I think with a young, inexperienced quarterback in there, I'd back him up and force him to take another play.
I think Chan Gailey just pointed the direction for us while we were asking the question.
Holding number 70 on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
So that's what they'll do. That's a first penalty. And Miami giving up 73 yards a game with penalties.
Yeah, they're 98th in the nation. That's pretty good. That's a lot better than they normally are.
I tell you what, you play 18 minutes for Miami and you haven't had only 1 penalty is not bad. Brock Berlin pacing the sideline, watching his understudy Kyle Wright at the controls. It's 3rd down and 24. And now the Georgia Tech fans come to life. Low snap again. Play action, Wright going deep. His man broke off. Sonoris Moss ran it out. And Kyle Wright threw it up.
Well, those Hurricane fans that have been screaming for Kyle Wright to be in the game, maybe they'll go over and start cheering for Brock Berlin.
Yeah.
It's not easy out there.
Well, we told you they have a good kicker in Petty, and he's already hit from 49. His career long is 51. This will be from 53 yards away. John Petty trying to add 3 more on. I don't think this one's got enough legs. Nope. Georgia Tech holds Miami, and they'll get the ball back. It maybe could have been more points for the Canes, but as Bob said, Moss didn't make the adjustment, and they didn't get the touchdown. Miami leading Georgia Tech 10-3, but Georgia Tech fans have something to cheer about. Petty missed the field goal, so they've got good field position to work just inside their own 37-yard line. Reggie Ball rolls out and throws it away.
Yeah, everything was covered.
Our Nissan Drive summary in this one today. Georgia Tech, the best thing they did was the first snap of the ball game, and that was Chris Woods with the long run that led to the field goal.
And the interception, Brad, didn't hurt them because they didn't give up any points to Miami on that one.
So it's 2nd down and 10 as you look at the Atlanta skyline. Warm, sunny day here in early October. Reggie Ball throwing long and incomplete again, threw it out of bounds, and he got some pressure from the backside again. And he's frustrated right now, you can tell.
Yeah, and again, nobody was open downfield, and he just threw it out of bounds to get rid of it.
He has missed now on his last 4 pass attempts.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you got to keep your cool playing against this defense, because Miami defensively is one of this. They're 3rd in the nation in total defense, 5th against the pass, and like you mentioned earlier, Brad, 12th against the run. So, you know, nothing's going to come easy against this defense.
They've led the nation against the pass the past 2 years. Ball with time, down the middle deep. Well, he was trying to find Levon Thomas, and there was 3 Hurricanes back there.
Well, they had what they wanted. They had single coverage down the field, but Thomas just wasn't open. There was no separation. And Reggie Ball threw it the only place he could, and that's a little bit long and away from the defense.
So Arndt to kick again, and 2 men back deep for Miami this time. Roscoe Parrish and Devin Hester saying, you got to kick it to one of us, or maybe they won't. They will. Parrish will take it on the fly at the 31. Parrish, who has a touchdown catch today, now has a nice punt return, 15 yards, and he's out to the 45-yard line. So Miami's got good field position, and they've got the lead with 11:27 remaining in the first half in Atlanta. Canes lead the Ramblin' Wreck 10-3. Brock Berlin with his offense around him, and Bob, he got in the middle of that huddle and he made some noise.
Yeah, well, you know, here you go. They just walked back off because of the timeout. Now, see the momentum. He had the momentum going with him. He scored the first 2 times in the game, first 2 possessions. Then he gave it up for Kyle Wright, and they didn't look so good. So now he's saying, let's get it back and go out there and get this thing going.
First down at the 45. Great field position for Miami. And it's Gore, and Frank Gore into the Georgia Tech secondary. All the way down to the 35-yard line. 20-yard run by Gore.
The line blocks better. You know, when things happen, the line blocks better. Everybody runs better. Quarterback plays better.
And Frank Gore with a 20-yard romp down to the 35 for a first down. He's got 56 yards on 7 carries so far, and he'll stay in there. Both wide receivers to Brock Berlin's right. Play action, he rolls that way and throws on the run and throws a perfect strike to Moss. And Moss has got a first down. Sonoris Moss out of bounds at about the 16-yard line.
It's just amazing how when you take a quarterback out, you put another one in, you change him. When the other one comes back, you think things seem so easy for him. In other words, he stood on the sideline, Berlin, and watched Kyle Wright struggle. So he said, well, when I go in, at least, you know, so now everybody knows that it's not easy. It's not like picking cherries. So he goes back out there and then has a bunch of success.
And a first down at the Georgia Tech 16-yard line. Gore swarmed under by the Yellow Jacket defense that time. No gain on the play. Time for our Aflac trivia question with 10:44 remaining in the first half. Who holds the ACC record for most sacks in a game? Log on to ETV at ESPN.com. Most sacks, ACC record in one game. Second down and 11 as Gore actually lost a yard on his last carry. He'll get it again straight up the middle, and this time he has positive yardage down to about the 11. Eric Henderson slid over from his defensive end position to make the stop.
Take a look from behind the defense. So The left guard Tella pulling around. Nice little hole in there. Nice job on the offensive line.
Well, here's another huge play for the Georgia Tech defense. Miami's got it at the Tech 11. It's 3rd down and 5. Berlin from the gun. Looks left all the way. Goes that way to his tight end Everett, but he stops short of the 1st down. Nice play by Jarris Wilkinson, the inside linebacker, who himself a year ago wasn't even playing linebacker. He was a defensive lineman. They moved him back there, and he's taken to the position pretty well.
He has. He was a linebacker before he was a defensive lineman, and just to get him on the field last year, because of the good linebacking core they had, they put him at defensive end, but he's back home this year.
John Petty's got to be thinking, man, this is cake. They've asked me from 49 and 53. This should be a chip shot from 25 to try to give the Canes a 10-point lead. And he's got it right down the middle. 8 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the 1st half. Brock Berlin got his offense going, but Georgia Tech holds the Canes to 3. 13-3 Miami. Welcome back to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. It's the 4th-ranked Miami Hurricanes leading the Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck 13-3. We've got 8:49 remaining in the half. Brad Nessler, Bob Griese, and Lynn Swann along with you. Brock Berlin down in the middle of the Big Eaters as Kyle Wright came in for a couple series, and now Brock's showing that he's the boss right now.
And I think it's good, you know. It shows Kyle Wright that, hey, it ain't that easy. It shows the fans it's not that tough.
Exactly.
And it gives some confidence to Brock Berlin.
Monroe's kick. Levon Thomas at the 5. Thomas trying to cut outside, got the corner, and really got tagged out of bounds. I think it was Devin Hester. That's his job this year as special teams, be it running them back or running them down, and he ran him down after a 20-yard kick. Swanee.
Oh, Brad, Calvin Johnson is playing in this game against Miami, and he's doing a solid job. I mean, look at him on 3 plays here, going against bump coverage for the first time. He's actually been doing very well holding his own. Now, there's a very conservative philosophy behind the Georgia Tech football team. They've got to find some chances to go to him downfield like on this play to give him better chances for success and gain that confidence. But you just have to be very careful how you pick your spots for this young man.
Only 1 catch today. It was a sensational diving grab, but it only picked up 7 yards. Bilbo in at quarterback again, and that play's going nowhere. It's almost as if Miami said, we expect this to happen, and when he's in there, if they don't throw one pretty soon with him back there, Bob, he's going to get killed.
Well, Bilbo at the quarterback, and he can throw.
Yes, he can.
And he probably will throw. I just get back to Swanee on that. Swanee, it looks like Calvin Johnson is we know he's tall, but it looks like he's a long-legged, long strider, and that is not good for getting off the line of scrimmage.
Well, yes, you're correct. I mean, if you look at sprinters, the fastest sprinters are the short guys who can get that drive going. Sometimes it might take him a while to get off the line, but it's something he has to work on. He's going to get somebody who will teach him this afternoon.
Reggie Ball, quarterback keeper, big opening into the secondary. Nice play action off the shotgun, and Reggie Ball now has the juices flowing a little bit. That's what the coaches say, and Bob said earlier, if you can get him a play like this, it might turn the game around a little bit. The spotlight on Reggie Ball, I think he just showed some of it, because when he gets out like this, he turns into one of these guys.
Yes.
And he is fast. He just showed it there. He's smart. We know that. He's at Georgia Tech. The bad part is sometimes he gets mad at himself.
He's very tough on himself. He's his own worst critic.
He might hit himself in the helmet right here. There's a flag down.
He needed that play because he was getting frustrated.
More than 11 men broke the huddle on the offense. 5 yards, still 1st down.
Levon Thomas was the extra guy, I think. And Chan Gailey's walking down that sideline saying, how come you were out there? It just cost us a penalty, our first one for 5 yards.
Chan says, we're playing a tough defense. We don't need to stop ourselves.
There's Reggie Ball's career numbers rushing. Last year, as a true freshman, he had 384 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So they back it up to a 1st and 15 back at the 38-yard line. Now they're pricking the flag up. They're waving it off. Well, Chan Gailey won his court battle there, Bob.
Yeah, he did.
You don't see that happen very often.
I don't know what he was saying, but
it must have made sense to somebody.
yes, it was. Yes, it did. Maybe he just had the official count the number of players that were in the huddle.
Demarius Bilbo's in the Georgia Tech backfield, and Reggie Ball split out as a wide receiver to the left side.
Here's Reggie up here.
Let's see if Bilbo will throw one. Blitz is going to come from the corner. He'll wait for his blockers, and he'll take it straight ahead for a couple. The thinking being here, with P.J. Daniels out of the lineup, Tech does not have a bruising running back. At least Bilbo at 6'3" and about 228 can pop it in there and at least make Miami pay for the tackle.
Somebody other than the running back, it's because they do a lot of one back in their backfield. Somebody other than that back carrying the ball, and they can't be every time. It can't be Reggie Ball.
Right.
So they bring in Bilbo, who is a big guy and can run.
He got 2 on the last one. He's in there now, but he's the slot receiver over to the right side. So we continue to watch number 8 move around on a 2nd down and 8 for Georgia Tech. Reggie Ball, quarterback draw. Reggie Ball, first down. Pollard down at the 42-yard line, but Georgia Tech's got its best offensive series going right here.
Yeah. And I think Chan Gailey has hit on something. That it's not gonna be successful every time you run it. But if you can get them dropping back, and you can get somebody with some skill, there you go. The Brazina, number 50, was pulling around to add blocking. You know, Reggie Ball needs to have some success. The more he runs, the better he's going to play.
He's got 30 yards on 2 of his carries in this drive, and Georgia Tech's got something working at the Miami 43-yard line. Ball gives off to Chris Woods this time. And Woods plows through what he can, which is about 2 yards. Coming up on the Valvoline halftime show, John, Craig, and Aaron will have highlights and analysis from today's big games. And I know Bob will probably keep his headset on even during his sandwich break.
Why is
to
that?
See what Purdue's doing with Notre Dame. That's the Valvoline halftime show coming up.
Hey, Purdue has not won in Notre Dame since 1974.
I was a freshman in college.
Yeah, you were a youngin'.
I was just a youngin'. The first time I was a freshman. That's right. First year freshman. I didn't redshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2nd down and 8.
The one thing Georgia Tech has not done is thrown the ball well against this defense.
Blitz from the corner and intercepted. Again, the wide receiver didn't turn around.
Didn't even look.
Boy, there's going to be some talking going on at halftime. That time, Levon Thomas was the intended receiver, and Brandon Merriweather just snatched it. That kills a Georgia Tech buzz, that's for sure.
Well, Brad, when you're a receiver and you get on the sideline, you've got to look inside, too, to see where the blitz is coming from. Then when that ball is snapped, you've got to see what the quarterback sees. Look back, shorten that route. The receiver doesn't shorten the route. The defensive back is looking into the backfield. It's an easy pick for him.
No doubt. So Merriweather, his first interception of the year. He was a big special team star for him last year. And now he's got the 2nd interception of the Georgia Tech quarterback today. Berlin might want it all on first down. Going deep. Got a man. It's Leggett. He's got it. It's a touchdown, Miami. Couldn't have been thrown better. Couldn't have stretched out farther. And Brock Berlin is a happy camper.
And I don't know if he could have made that throw if he hadn't sat on the bench for 2 series. Although he's playing well today, I just think if you get somebody else goes out there and you get a little competition and you see your job may be in jeopardy, I think the concentration you play a little bit better.
And his point after is good. Leggett, we've been talking so much about 2 sensational freshman wide receivers. Calvin Johnson for Georgia Tech. On the other side, the 6'4" Lance Leggett on this one.
Leggett's lined up on the left side. Everybody's up there for Georgia Tech, and when there's a turnover, it's always a good play by the offense to go for a big play. But you got to execute it, and those 2 young guys did. Watch Brock Berlin. He's gone through a lot the last couple weeks, the last couple of months, the last year.
So the sudden change and the sudden celebration, all in one 8-second strike. Miami leads 20-3. He knew he had him. and he couldn't have put it in a better spot.
Like it.
Head coach likes it too. So it's the freshman receiver on the other side, Swanee, that makes the big play.
Now, what I really liked about the play was that when Brock Berlin got back there and the receiver broke, the receiver was so wide open, it's not necessary to throw that perfect pass. Sometimes you're trying to throw and you miss the guy. He had the whole right half of the field to throw it. He just laid it out there, let his receiver run away from the coverage and easily into the end zone. That's just cool and calm under pressure. That's the kind of quarterbacking they'd like to see Brock Berlin do consistently.
And they've scored on all 4 possessions that he's been at the controls, and you can tell it by how his offensive linemen are huddled around him over there on the Canes sideline. Here's the kick. Levon Thomas camps under it at the 5. The return set up to the right. He cuts back the other way and backpedals across the 30 out to about the 33-yard line. Reminder coming up Monday night. Should be some great pro football action. Al Michaels and John Madden will be in Baltimore. It'll be the Chiefs against the Ravens. Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. Ray Lewis, the unquestioned leader of the Baltimore Ravens, but you know, when you get him around his friends, you got to wonder if he can be trusted, especially his teammates like Gary Baxter.
Got to chill for a minute.
He put his trust in Ray this week on the new Monday Night Football halftime feature, You've Been Sacked. He might be sorry.
Oh.
You never know what's going to happen.
Did he get sacked or did he do the sacking?
I don't know. Find out Monday.
Yeah.
Rashawn Grant in the lineup for the first time today, and he goes for 11 yards.
Yeah, and if McIntosh doesn't make that tackle, Grant runs for a long time.
Rashawn Grant and Chris Woods getting all the work today with P.J. Daniels injured. Contusion on his thigh. Quadricep. Suffered actually in the Clemson game, and then P.J. came back and tried to play against North Carolina, re-aggravated that injury. And he worked all week in practice trying to run on his own and get ready, but he wasn't ready. And so it's these 2 guys' job, back and the quarterbacks, running the football as well. Nate Curry, the motion man. Here's Grant again. And this time maybe got a yard if he's lucky. McIntosh, the outside linebacker. Harris, the defensive tackle, in on the stop. Miami loses all those great players to the National Football League, and all of a sudden you look over there and you go, I don't know these guys' names, but I got a feeling I'm going to know them soon.
They lost 7 starters, 4 #1 draft picks off of the defense, and they come back and everybody's talking about them being better. And I think as you take a look at it's Tidwell Neal, he's
the
down
center.
I think it's just a challenge to Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator, to come back and after losing all those guys, come back and have a defense that's even better than it was last year.
There's Randy, and he didn't sound too concerned when we talked to him this week. He said, who bothers you about Georgia Tech? He said, nobody bothers me over there. I'm bothered about my guys, and I worry about how they play. 11
defensive players have been drafted #1 in the last 4 years. That's pretty good. And then he just, you know, you look and say, well, who's going to be the #1 draft picks off this defense this year? You know,
Antrell Roll's going to be one of them.
Yeah, he'll be one.
Tidwell Neal is down. We'll try to check on him. And Georgia Tech will have a new center when we come back. They trail 23 with 4:27 left in the half.
Somewhere there.
ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Nissan. Everything we touch, we shift. And everything we shift, we try to make better. TIAA CREF Financial Services for the greater good. Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It is game time. And AOL for broadband. Proud sponsor of First and 10. As you look across the Georgia Tech campus to the Midtown area of Atlanta, it'll be a 2nd down and 9. A long 8 actually coming up for Georgia Tech. And remember, they got a new center in there now, redshirt freshman Kevin Tuminello, who doesn't play very often. Reggie Ball is under a brand new snapper. Rashawn Grant is leveled in the backfield.
Now, whenever a new center goes in, Brad, it's always an adjustment. #1, the snap to the quarterback, but more importantly, the center is the guy that the quarterback of the offensive line. He makes all the line calls. you call a running play, he goes up there and calls the blocking. If it's a pass play, he goes up and he sees a blitz coming. He'll check off to the line, and he'll tell everybody who to block. So Tuminello being in there, a redshirt freshman, this changes everything in the offensive line.
They're going to keep Reggie Ball under center. I was going to say we might see his first snap into a shotgun set, but they don't show that. 3rd down and 11. Ball running for his life. Has a man open. Nate Curry was open, and he overthrew him by a mile. I don't know if he didn't see him or what.
Yeah, he didn't see him. He had some purple pants in his coming after him.
Yeah. So Reggie had that one good series, mostly when he kept it on the ground himself, then threw the interception, and now he's only 3 of 12, and he's incomplete in his last 7 attempts. Now Miami's going to get it back with a full complement of timeouts and over 3 minutes to work. Ben Arndt to punt. A good kick this time, going to the far side. It'll go out of bounds, but it'll keep it out of the hands of Hester and Parrish. And they'll walk it off up to the 25-yard line. That's where Miami will work. Our Pacific Life game summary looks something like this. First snap of the ball game for Georgia Tech. It's Chris Woods with a career-long 56-yard run. But Miami held and forced a field goal for Georgia Tech. Haynes came back. Questionable there as to whether Roscoe Parrish took that off the ground. That was their first touchdown, and this was their last possession. A 57-yard strike. Brock Berlin to Lance Leggett. You wrap that around a couple of Pettit field goals, and that's where we are. It is 20-3 Miami. And they're looking for more, probably, because Berlin's got a hot hand, and he's got his offense rallied around him right now. Gore. Make it Moss. Tyrone Moss, number 30, out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. It's a nice 1-2 punch, Grease, when you got Frank Gore and all of a sudden you bring in Moss.
Well, you got that right. Both of them are excellent runners, and either one of them can carry the load. But sharing the load just makes them both that much better. The offensive line, too, seems to have come alive, both pass protecting and run blocking.
Moss stays in there. You saw Frank on the sideline getting a breather with his helmet off on a hot day.
Unbalanced this way.
2nd and 4. They run it with Moss. And no gain that time. Tyrone played most of the last game for the Hurricanes and had a career-high day in the win over Houston a week ago Thursday. He had 148 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Both of these running backs are on the smallish side, not in weight, but in height. But they both have quickness and they both have speed. Miami's got some other running backs, true freshmen that they would rather not use. These guys are juniors.
Berlin has found 4 different receivers on 3rd down throws today. He's running out of time. He ran out of time.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be 3rd down and about 9.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, number 7 on the offense. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Very few penalties today by either team.
Why they call out the quarterback's name when they delay a game?
Why are they doing that, huh?
It could be his fault, but it could not be his fault.
You always stick it up for him.
The play may have gotten in there late, you know.
I would agree with that.
Sometimes these coaches on the sideline don't do it fast enough.
3rd and 9. 3 wideouts. And Hill flanked to Brock Berlin's right. Blitz coming. And right into the hands of Chris Reese, who almost had an interception. So Reese has a sack, and now he's got a pass defended that he almost took the other way.
See, I think that is one area where Brock Berlin can get a little bit better. When you have a free guy coming, just fake it. He's going to get off his feet and then move around him, step around him. You just have to have the instinctive. You have just to move around a little bit when you need to.
Georgia Tech now waiting on the punt. They got close the first time, not as close this time. Logan has to really hustle, made a shoestring grab, and kept his balance out to the 41-yard line. And that's where Georgia Tech will go to work. Now, we asked you our Aflac trivia question earlier. Who holds the ACC record for the most sacks in a game? Swanee seems anxious. He's been barking down there into his microphone. Swanee, you want to go first?
I have not been barking.
All right.
I am not anxious.
Okay.
I just know that I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer?
I have no idea.
And Bob was waving up here. I thought
I was trying to get
Pat's attention.
Yeah.
What, are you guys both bailing on me?
Yeah.
I know there was a game where Pat Swilling just chewed up somebody for about 6 or 7 sacks one year when he was playing defense here for Georgia Tech. That's my guess.
You knew it was going to be a Georgia Tech guy, right?
Aha. How about that? 7 sacks. I couldn't remember if it was NC State or not, but he was one heck of a player.
Is he still in town playing?
Yeah, no, he's not playing anymore, but he lives here, I think. Here's Reggie Ball. And Reggie doesn't get much. So Aflac going into the first, what are we, first third of the season? Something like that. I like that. I like that. I don't like that picture of me, but I like that score.
I'm coming back.
You'll make a comeback.
I'm going to start my comeback next week.
3-2-1 blast off. We're in good shape. All right. Well, next week we'll be down at the Texas State Fair in Dallas for the big one between Oklahoma and the Longhorns. That'll be fun. Reggie Ball intercepted by Antrel Rolle. Flags are down. Rolle rolling down the sideline. Makes a cut. Stays on his feet. He scores. Touchdown. But it might be coming back.
There's a flag, and it looks like it's coming back because the official that threw it is standing right near the flag.
And I think the penalty's on Antrel Rolle, to be honest with you.
It is. This is the young, true freshman, Calvin Johnson, going up against the senior veteran defensive back, the All-American. And they catch the All-American for doing something.
Would have been a 51-yard touchdown, but it's all come back.
Pass interference. Number 6 on the defense. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Well, Calvin Johnson knew he was going to have the challenge, and there you see the bump by Antrel Rolle as he was going out there. But when you're playing this tight bump and run coverage, you got to take a few chances here and there. And it was good play by Antrel Rolle. He could just have easily gotten away with that call.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't see anything that was really bad on that.
Other than Calvin Johnson didn't turn around in his head again.
Well, that's true. And we say he's not quick. He's a long strider. But the thing that we probably called is the ball was probably in the air when he was still jamming on Rolle.
Reggie Ball going deep for Nate Curry's got him out there. Touchdown. He dropped it. But there's another flag down, and it'll be pass interference again.
But he should have caught it, and he knows it. Nate Curry from Miami could have had a touchdown and got him back in the ball game.
Oh, boy. The senior knows it. There's the call. But as Bob said, you don't get many shots against this defense, and here was another one.
Right through his arms.
Right through his arms and hit his knee.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 24. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Marcus Maxey is the guy with the penalty. Nate Curry's the guy that is banging his helmet down there in the end zone after not making that catch.
Down at the bottom of your screen, Maxey just dives at him. I mean, it was a good call. It was a great throw. It was good by the receiver until he tried to catch it. That was a sure touchdown that goes now back to the 35-yard line against a great defense. Are we going to get any points out of this drive now?
That's what they need. Georgia Tech desperately needs something out of this before halftime. Reggie Ball throws to his tight end. Darius Williams down the middle. And the little used spot in the Georgia Tech offense comes up with a big play. They don't throw to the tight end very much.
He's only caught one pass this year, and that was his 5th career reception. A middle screen to the tight end.
Williams, a senior out of Clarkston, Georgia. He's a big target. He's 6'6".
And he's going to be wide open. There is nobody there. Miami knows they don't throw to their tight ends.
That time, though, it got them down in the red zone. They're at the 18-yard line.
Well, Bob, that might have been one of those calls like you were saying. As a coach, you sit there and you start looking at the plays you call, and you start looking at your tendencies and says, well, if I was a defensive coach, I'd defend it this way because they never throw to my tight end. So, you know, I've got to change things up. And it looks like Georgia Tech is trying to make sure they stay away from those tendencies to get something going here.
No, I think that's good. You know, they've had opportunities to make plays and to hit plays. And more often than not, they've missed them for one reason or another.
Coming up tonight, 2 of the 3 remaining undefeated teams in the SEC take the field as Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, and the Auburn Tigers go to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. A big BCS implication type game there. College football primetime tonight on ESPN at 7:45 Eastern.
That game will mean something, too.
You bet it does. Calvin Johnson is up to the top of your screen. Georgia Tech's got a first down. Reggie Ball in the shotgun at the Miami 18. Georgia Tech looking for points before halftime. Ball back to throw. Fires again, trying to go to his tight end, and too far out in front of him this time. Leon Williams was covering, Bob, and he didn't start the ball game because of a broken bone in his hand.
He missed a couple of ball games, and you're right. I mean, if I'd throw at Leon Williams all the time, because even if it's a bad throw, he ain't going to be able to intercept it. He can't catch it, but Reggie is not a great thrower. I mean, he's a great all-around player, but he's a better runner, a better scrambler, a thrower on the run than he is a pocket passer at this point in his career.
Now it's Bilbo in at quarterback again. Reggie Ball goes out as a wide receiver to the left side. Will Bilbo throw or run here? May not do either.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 83 on the offense, 5 yards. Repeat second down.
Well, the tight end's getting involved here. He had a catch. They threw to him a second time, and now he's got a 5-yard penalty.
Yep. Right over here.
There he comes out of his stance. So now it's backed up to the 23. About all you can say is Georgia Tech's got a little more room to work with here, but they don't want to get in a situation where they take themselves out of a field goal try either. It's Bilbo at quarterback.
There's Williams down below, the big guy.
Bilbo pump fakes, throws for Calvin Johnson, and it's intercepted out of bounds, incomplete. Greg Threek would have had his second one, and Bilbo took a hit as he let go of the ball. Pressure was coming from the backside from Harris.
Whoa, he did good catch there.
Yep.
It was a little slant and go, and he got the ball. It was just forcing the ball to Williams, because in previous games they've gotten inside the 20, the 30, and they've just thrown the ball to Williams in the end zone, and he's gone up and made a play on it.
Orion Harris was the guy that put on that pressure. Now it's Reggie Ball back at quarterback. 3 wide receivers set. Huge play for Georgia Tech here late in the second quarter. It's 3rd and 15. Here comes a blitz. Reggie Ball, look out, Reggie. Down he goes, and that's exactly what Georgia Tech did not want to do. They're out of field goal range.
That's just inexperience. You've got to get rid of the ball.
And now the clock ticking down, and I guess Tech's not even going to stop it. Well, they finally do. Did they stop it with a second left? A loss of 19.
Reggie Ball has not played a defense like Miami's very often, I want to tell you.
I think they're going to put a second or two back on the clock.
Georgia Tech, final timeout.
And Georgia Tech has a 4th down. Now they can just throw one in the end zone if they can get time to do that, because they took themselves away from what you would assume would be an automatic 3 points.
How long was that loss? That was about a 15-yard loss. 19-yard loss.
You add that to the penalty. Just the 5-yard penalty started to kill him. Took him from the 18 out to the 23. And then it was backpedaling from there. Bilbo trying to go long to Johnson. That one didn't have a chance. And then Reggie Ball with a blitz coming from Miami, running for his life, and did the one thing that you don't want to do, not get rid of it.
Yeah. Chan Gailey told us yesterday, he says we need to do 3 things to stay in this ball game. Number 1, offensively, not turn it over. Secondly, on defense, we have to stop Miami's run, which they have done fairly well. And on special teams, don't give them any big plays. Just play them even. But it's been their offense that has turned it over twice.
Are they going to give their kicker a chance for a 60-yard field goal? Are you kidding me? I guess so. Kyle Belcher is a true freshman out of, as we would say here in the South, Albany, Georgia. A 59-yard field goal attempt, and now Miami's going to take a timeout. I'd be willing to bet you that Kyle's never hit a 59-yard field goal in high school, much less in college. 1 second left.
Well, he doesn't seem to be too worried about it.
No, he really doesn't. I guess he figures, well, I'll take a swing at it. Larry Coker knows there's only one play left either way in this half. His counterpart, Chan Gailey, just trying to get some points. Chan, of course, a former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys before coming back here into Atlanta, into the college coaching ranks, and so many guys have done that in the past. And one of our favorites, who is going to hang up the coach's shoes at the end of the year, we want to wish the best to Robbie, John Robinson, head coach at USC, 2 terms there, of course, with the Los Angeles Rams for many years, now the head coach at UNLV. And he and his wife Linda, we wish them a happy retirement when the time comes. He's still got football left, but heck of a guy. And there's some of the current head coaches really that have been in the pro ranks and are back on the college campuses now, including John. Well, here's a 59-yard field goal attempt by true freshman Kyle Belcher. And it's not going to be enough. So Georgia Tech blows an opportunity to get some points. 59-yard field goal attempt is not what they were looking for. They were either looking for a touchdown or a chip shot field goal to try to cut in to this Miami lead. And Larry Coker is Wiswanick.
Well, Coach, your defense does a good job in not letting Georgia take any points. A couple offensive questions. The first half, maybe the best half of your offense in terms of finding its rhythm, getting the job done?
No doubt about it. I'm really encouraged by what I've seen. We're playing a lot more energy and a lot more confidence, and really kind of unfolded like we hoped it would, to be honest with you, Lynn.
You stuck to your word. You put Kyle Wright into the ball game in the key situation, and a couple of series. Then Brock came in. Will you do that again in the second half?
Definitely thinking about that, because we're not going to mess around. We need to win the football game, but I'd like to see Kyle play some in the second half also.
Coach, we'll see you in that second half.
All right, fellas, halftime in Atlanta, 20-3. In our BCS Spotlight game, Miami in front. We'll be joining John, Craig, and Aaron in our New York studios for the Valvoline halftime show right after this timeout. Start the third quarter. And I think most of the talk in the press box at halftime was about the one play that Georgia Tech didn't need, was a 19-yard sack that took them out of field goal range. Brock Berlin's chomping at the bit. Kyle Belcher has it teed up for Georgia Tech. Devin Hester and Darnell Jenkins waiting now for Miami. Kick's going to go out of bounds, and that'll give Miami good field position right off the get-go. You want to keep it out of Devin Hester's hands, but you don't want to kick it out of bounds. Our Pacific Life game summary, statistically in the first half, as you might guess, all Miami.
208 yards total offense.
Look at those turnovers down there for Georgia Tech. And they're lucky they didn't have a third interception that would have been a 51-yard touchdown. That was called back on penalty on Antrell Roll. So the 35-yard line, good spot for Brock Berlin and the Miami offense to start. Frank Gore will start things off as the tailback in the eye. And they'll go to him. And Gore broke a tackle into the secondary. Now he's weaving his way around across midfield and down to the 44-yard line. A 21-yard run on the first snap of the third quarter for Frank Gore. Miami, their first half leaders, are the guys that they expected to be their first half leaders, except Leggett probably.
Yeah, well, 2 touchdowns for Brock Berlin. A nice throw to Leggett, the long one. Frank Gore doing a nice job running the football.
And he has 82 yards now after that last pop. First down in Atlanta territory just that quickly. And now they might want the home run again. Brock Berlin, Roscoe Parrish is there. Touchdown, Miami. Two plays, 2 strikes, and Georgia Tech might be out.
It's a nice call by offensive coordinator Dan Werner. They went in at halftime. They said they're ganging up on first and second down. 8 guys to stop the run. We have single coverage on the outside. Let's just run some takeoffs. And he made a perfect throw.
Henny's point after is good. And now Georgia Tech has got a serious hill to climb. Brock Berlin having one of the hot days, one of his best ever maybe.
8 guys to stop the run, single coverage on the outside. This is like practice. You got a wide side of the field to the left side. Parrish saves the quarterback some room out there. Berlin just throws it to the outside with a lot of air. You know, it seems like it's so easy when it goes right. Why were they struggling before this?
Well, Bob, I have a theory about that. We all know about the horrible circumstances in the state of Florida with the 4 hurricanes in a short period of time. I just believe that the Miami Hurricane football team just has not had a consistent amount of good practice and normal kinds of practices with all the interruptions. Plus the fact they play a game on a Saturday, they come back, they play on a Thursday, they come back, they play on a Saturday, they have a bye. They can't find their rhythm for practice, let alone find the rhythm in the ball game. Today, they seem to be finding it.
Boy, that smile tells 1,000 stories, doesn't it?
Isn't that the truth? I don't know if I'm buying what Swanee's trying to sell.
You guys have already agreed twice today. That's more than normal.
But you're right.
I'm not saying Bob that I'm right, but there were a couple of assistant coaches who agreed with me.
Here's a high short kick. Lavon Thomas will take it at the 11 and dropped it. Found a handle again, but he finds a whole bunch of Hurricanes right after that. So there's 4 plays that Georgia Tech would love to throw away to start the second half. They kicked it out of bounds. They gave up a 21-yard run. They gave up a 44-yard touchdown, and they just fumbled their kickoff return. And their offensive leaders, that's pretty offensive. Actually, Chris Woods, you take away his 56-yard run of the first snap of the ball game, and there's nothing there.
Nothing there. Reggie's had a couple of interceptions, only 4 of 14, and not pretty numbers. They didn't make the they didn't make the plays when they had the opportunity to make them.
And now they've got their worst starting field position of the afternoon at their own 15-yard line. Reggie Ball, this has been the best play of the day. He's done it 2 or 3 times. He goes for 17 more. So he's had one of those for 18, one for 12, now one for 17.
Yeah, this is by far the best Reggie Ball looks, is when he fakes it and runs with it. When he's looking the worst is when he's throwing the football. And that for a quarterback is not good.
That's right. And unfortunately,
the 2 safeties for Miami, Brad, have played really well.
Yeah,
Fleet
they have.
And Merriweather. They both have interceptions. And Merriweather tackled Woods on that big long play to save a touchdown for Georgia Tech.
Exactly. Ball, man in his face. They finally try to throw a screen, and that was almost intercepted. Santonio Thomas saw that one coming, and he almost got his mitts on it. The senior 308-pounder out of South Bay, Florida. I've been waiting for a screen all day. They would have thrown more screens had P.J. Daniels played in this game, I'm sure, and they try one there, and it almost ended up being an interception.
Yeah, there were a lot of Hurricanes out there in that screen.
Reggie Ball has only hit one of his last 10 passes. It's been a struggling day for the young fella who will turn 20 years old on Wednesday. He'll try to run again. And he does well with it again. Takes the umpire out, too. And across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Thomas Carroll, the defensive end, made the stop. And we've got a Georgia Tech player down. And I'm telling you, if that's Tuminello, who already came in for Tidwell Neal. No, I think it's Brad Brazina, maybe, the guard. The left guard for Georgia Tech, it appears to be. And he is the greenest of the bunch, if you want to put it that way, as far as the offensive lineman.
Yeah, he played defense last year.
Yep.
He just moved over this spring.
I hope I haven't jumped the gun. I think it's number 50. So Georgia Tech's already lost their starting center, and now their starting left guard is face down in much the same way that Tidwell Neal was when he was injured. So they roll Brad over. He's going to be the pulling guard. And helmet to helmet he goes with Leon Williams.
Right there.
And then goes face down. That's. You worry about those kind. We'll try to check on Brad Brzezina, and we'll be back in Atlanta. 27-3 Miami. We'll be back in a moment. Brad Brzezina, the sophomore out of Greensboro, Georgia, walked off under his own power and then tried to sell to the trainers that he was 100% ready to go back in. They didn't buy it yet, but that's good to see he's all right.
And he's standing right next to Tidwell Neal, the other guy that was injured.
Reggie Ball scrambles for a first down. So Georgia Tech, that's a bit about their offense today, because their normal star in the backfield is not wearing shoulder pads. We mentioned earlier, there's P.J. Daniels, the ACC's leading rusher a year ago, over 2,000 career yards for Georgia Tech, and he's already in the number 7 spot with 2,026 yards, actually tied with William Bell, who went on to an NFL career. So good company there, and they got to get him back. First down at the 46. Option, and the pitch to Woods, and Woods got across midfield and down to about the 48-yard line.
A good play, option to the weak side. They need to get the running game going. Georgia Tech cannot throw the ball without a running game. Comes right down the line. Baraka Atkins forces him to pitch it, and then that's just a good that's a good play. Atkins has a couple of forced fumbles on the year, and one fumble that he returned for a touchdown.
Georgia Tech in an I backfield here on second down and short, something they haven't had much of today. 2nd and 3, toss sweep to Woods, and he's going to have another first down, I think. Looks like it. Williams and 3 in on the tackle, and it looks like they'll move the chains again.
Bob and Brad, just to bring you up to date on Andy Tidwell Neal, they're saying it's a left ankle injury, that he's questionable, more than likely a sprain, but when you're 3'10", you know, a sprain can be fairly debilitating.
It's like I have a flat tire on your pickup.
That's correct. And Brad Brzezina had a little stinger. They say he will return.
Brad still pacing the sideline down there with his helmet strapped on. He wants to go back in so bad as they bring the chains from the far side to have a look. Looked to us like he had it by the nose of the football. About half the football. You knew the field had to be straight. This is an engineering school, so the yard lines weren't crooked. Bobby Dodd Stadium has, over the past couple years, had some renovations, filling in the whole left end zone with permanent seating and a lot of the coaches' offices, and that's that sort of thing down that way. Great seating as you're pan across. I tell you what, those picnic tables over there with the white linen are looking pretty good right now.
Oh, boy.
I'm getting a little hungry. First down at the 44. Reggie tips, incomplete. Somebody got a hand on it. That's one thing. He is not the biggest quarterback either. 5'11", and that might be graciously listed for Reggie. And Bob, you've talked about it a lot of times. When you're that size, you got to find some lanes to throw through.
You do, and some guys can do it, and other guys cannot. It's just one of the defensive linemen in there gets ahead of. Maybe it's Thomas right there, but when you're that size, it's just another thing that you have to do to get the ball off. And some guys do it with second nature, and other guys get them knocked down a lot.
Reggie Ball is only 4 out of 16 throwing the football. Woods took a whack as they got to the line of scrimmage. He had that one all smelled out, and it was Greg Threed again, who's had a heck of a ball game coming up from the secondary, and Santonio Thomas slipped out there to help him on the tackle.
Threed leads this team in tackles. He is the strong safety, or half the time he probably ends up at weak safety, but they're one of the 2 safeties. Leads the team in tackles. He's 4th in the ACC in tackles. Had 17 tackles, I think it was last week in Houston.
That's right. And he chose Miami over Florida, Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech. So he's been here before, recruited heavily to Atlanta. 3rd down and long. Reggie Ball throws complete, but draped all over his freshman receiver is the Miami defense, led by Kelly Jennings. Calvin Johnson, that's only his 2nd catch, and this one's not good enough for a first down.
Yeah, he throws it to the wrong guy. The other receiver broke to the inside, was wide open. And these Hurricanes, you know, the other players on the other, they read the clippings and they know who the hot shot guys are.
Yeah, that's right.
They want to stop this hot shot, true freshman. And the other receiver that broke to the middle of the field was wide open.
Van Aert now to punt, and that's Devin Hester. They've tried to keep it away from him all day long. This one he'll hit a mile in the air, force Hester to call a fair catch. And this is a good punt. It's going to go out of bounds inside the 10 at about the 9. So they kept it out of his hands. Good job by the Georgia Tech punter. 32-yard kick with no return, and this will be, I believe, the worst field position Miami's had today at their own 9-yard line. ABC's Desperate Housewives is being called TV's best new series, and a great new guilty pleasure. Series premiere of Desperate Housewives Sunday, 9/8 Central, only on ABC. I know Bob and I'll be watching that one. And Shay will be watching if Bob doesn't. Everybody's ready for Desperate Housewives.
Hey, I watched Lost the other night. That was good.
Yeah, it was. Really good.
Kind of got me caught up. That's going to be on again tonight.
Tonight, yeah, after the
show the whole thing.
Yep. Frank Gore. This time Georgia Tech slows him down. He's been doing such a good job on first down runs. He did get 4 there, but that's better than ripping off 12 or 13 like he's done a couple of times today. Jarris Wilkinson again in on the stop. Frank Gore, we mentioned, has had some tendonitis in his knees after knee surgeries 2 consecutive years, ending his seasons, still battling back, and he's been really an inspiration, I think, for the whole team. In fact, Brock Berlin says he's my hero. He said he's the man. If he can come back from that twice, and he's running like the Frank Gore we know right now. He'll get it again. And he finds an opening. And now he's off to the races. Going across the 30, waits for his blockers all the way out to the 40-yard line. Well, I think we talked him right into that one, didn't we?
Well, you got to give his offensive line some credit. They get him past the line of scrimmage. Take a look at the blocking up front. Somebody from the left side's going to pull. It looks like it might be Tella. Breaks off the block to the outside. Myers doing a nice job. McMeans up there in the front line.
Need in his wideouts got him some help downfield. 27-yard pickup. 113-yard day for Frank Gore so far. Berlin to Leggett, trying to weave his way around some Georgia Tech defenders. Lance Leggett, he looks like he's going to be something special too, probably in a hurry.
Well, they need somebody to step up. They're looking for a go-to receiver. They thought coming in that it was going to be Ryan Moore. Moore didn't play well in the first game against Florida State and has really not stepped up, and neither of the other receivers. They've won one game, it's one guy, another game, another guy plays well. They need a guy, and they're looking maybe for Leggett. He's a true freshman.
Coming left is Gore, and he's got another first down. So Frank has played the majority of this half now. Tyron Moss, actually, he's played most of the game.
Yeah. This is the 4th game for the Hurricanes. Up to this point, they've struggled offensively. They struggled at the end of last year on offense. You know, if their defense is playing well, their special teams are playing well, if Brock Berlin and their receivers kind of get on the same page, this could be a team that could be challenged for a championship. But you got to complete those types of passes.
That's Everett, the big tight end. Brock Berlin points at himself, says that one's on me. I didn't get enough on that pass. 2nd down and 10 upcoming. And Jarris Wilkinson, the middle linebacker for Georgia Tech's come over to the sideline. They can ill afford to lose him. They have no depth really at linebacker. A lot of young guys, but as we said, that's an all-new linebacking core from a year ago, and he's the one that kind of stuffs the middle for him. 2nd and 10. Berlin deep out, threw it before his man made the cut, Darnell Jenkins, and got it too far out in front of him. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
Let's go back to the previous play, Brad. I just want to show you what go ahead and run this. Go ahead and run this and watch the pocket set up. Now right here, this is where he needs to step up. Instead of throwing over these guys, see how he's throwing over? He needs to step up here and throw around those guys.
Yep.
You know, it's just something that you do. Once you hit the back, then you find your lane, and then you throw. You don't throw over everybody.
3rd and 10 now to the shotgun. Wants to throw a screen. Overshot Quadrant Hill. And incomplete. Miami will have to give it up. But let's check in right now with New York. John.
Brad, as you know, Chad Henne was not supposed to be the starting quarterback this year for Michigan, but he's looked good. 69 yards to Braylon Edwards, who is wide open, one of the best receivers in the country and a Heisman candidate. 28-7 right now. Michigan with the lead.
Nice numbers, huh? 12 out of 14.
How would you like to come out of high school and go to college and throw to those wide receivers?
Braylon Edwards is pretty good.
The best group in the nation.
Tech wanted to block that punt. They got close. Fair catch taken by Mark Logan at about the 12-yard line by number 12. We've got a timeout with 7:43 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Miami leading Georgia Tech 27-3. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Pontiac and the first ever G6, the next official performance machine of the NCAA. Aflac, ask about it at work. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. Capital One No Hassle Rewards, what's in your wallets? And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. As you look in on a landmark in Atlanta and then into Bobby Dodd Stadium, the varsity is probably not a place you go if you're on a low-carb diet. You want to walk the dog all the way, a bag of rags and a brown cow over there, maybe a big orange. I don't know.
Yeah, how often do you go by there?
I might go over there after the game, actually. 1st and 10, Georgia Tech. Bilbo's at quarterback. And he'll just take a straight path and run it. Got some blockers in front and got out a couple yards to the 14. Antrell Roll made the stop. And Antrell making his presence felt in a lot of ways today. Came close to having a 51-yard touchdown on an interception, but he was called for pass interference.
Yeah, it was a close call, too.
Yep.
But I think it was a good call because I think the ball was in the air when he was, you know, Georgia Tech scored on their first possession. They kicked the field goal and have not scored on their next 7 possessions.
And now they've got a 2nd and long again, 2nd and long 7. Reggie Ball has to call timeout. Nothing's going right now for Georgia Tech. Timeout will take it with them with 7:01 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Yellow Jackets looking for some answers. Reggie Ball on the left has struggled so badly today. A lot of people would wonder maybe the backup Pat Carter should play. And Bob, that's not going to happen.
Well, we were told yesterday by Chan that he won't play today. Some kind of infraction with the team. He's suspended for the ball game. And
here's Reggie Ball going deep, incomplete.
But you know, they both came in at the same time. They're both true freshmen last year, and Reggie just came on and did so well that Carter was pushed to the back seat, the 2nd stringer, and you know, at some point in time, I think they may have to give Carter a look, because if Reggie Ball doesn't continue to throw the ball well, I mean, he looks good running the ball, but you got to be a passer, and you know, Chan Gailey wants somebody who can throw the ball. You may have to look at the other guy.
Yep. 3rd down and 8. Chan Gailey looks on. His offense might make Miami the #1 defense in the country before this one's all over. Flags down, ball down the middle, and hit his man in the hands, and Bilbo couldn't hold it. A little bit in front of him, but a penalty marker at the line. Illegal procedure against Georgia Tech, and that one will be declined, I would assume, by Miami. And the punting unit for Georgia Tech will have to come on.
On the offense, penalty is declined. 4th down.
So off comes the offense. The punting team's going to be put in a precarious spot here with a relatively untested punter standing at his own goal line. And if he tries to keep it away from the dual return men, Parrish and Hester, he better watch out so he doesn't get it blocked.
This is his 6th punt of the day. They're not trying to block it. They've got a return on.
Boy, he hit it nice. Hester at the 41. Hester finally gets his hands on it. He brings it back into Georgia Tech territory to the 47-yard line. So that's where Miami will work now after a 12-yard return of the punt with 6:38 remaining in the third quarter. All Miami in this ball game. Georgia Tech had a threat on late in the second quarter. They had a sure touchdown pass dropped by Nate Curry. There was a pass interference call on the play. And then Georgia Tech was sacked for a 19-yard loss, and they took themselves out of field goal range. That is kind of how the first half ended. And then Brock Berlin in Miami came out and lit it up to start the third quarter. They lead 27-3.
A couple of long touchdown passes by Berlin has really lit up this offense.
I'm not sure they might not go for another one. They're in a pretty good spot right here.
They're on the plus side of the 50.
They'll keep it on the ground. It's Moss. And he's just carrying guys with him.
He's frustrated. He says,
yeah,
get me in this ball game.
Looked like he was going to be stopped for maybe a 2-yard gain. He dragged guys for 2 more yards. James Butler finally brought him down. Georgia Tech's defense been out there a long time today, too.
Well, they really, Gailey's had it the way he wanted. He wanted to have the time of possession. He's had it for over 21 minutes. Miami only 17 minutes. So, and that's been a lot worse in the second half. They wanted to possess the ball, and they've done that, but Miami has scored quickly.
Moss again, right side, diving out. Close to a first down. He might have it. He lost his footing on his own and then did everything he could to get the extra inches out of it, and it's a first down. So now Miami can just kind of use up clock, and they can go ball control if they want to with a 24-point lead.
Well, the one thing that Miami offense has not been today is one-dimensional, and that's what you heard about them coming into this game. Yep. Berlin has played very well, and Larry Coker made a great decision, I think, in that putting the young quarterback in early in the game, the third and fourth series, just to get him some experience. And what it did, it lit a fire under Brock Berlin and the rest of the offense.
And then he grabbed his lineman by the throat over there in that huddle that we saw. And when they came back out, they were like, "We're with you, dude."
You know, you know what I liken it to? It's almost like what's going on in Tennessee with the two freshman quarterbacks.
Yep.
You know, I don't think one would be doing as well as the other.
There's Brock Berlin when he gathered his troops, and then he came out and did that to Roscoe Parrish. Then he loaded up and did that long ball to Leggett, perfect pass. He's added another one of those in this half. Pickup of a couple there for Tyrone Moss, who's getting most of the carries now here. Frank Gore already over 100 yards.
I just think in that Tennessee scenario, if you just played one, the guy wouldn't be doing that well.
Right.
But you're playing them both, and I think Phil Fulmer's to be congratulated. They say, now that Ainge is doing so well, you just got to go with him. He says, why should I? He says, it's working.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing it.
They got a big game, of course, on ESPN tonight against the Auburn Tigers. Third down, a long one. Moss hit in the backfield, broke the tackle. Now he stood up. I don't know if he got there or not.
He just did something that we don't give him credit for, but he just ran through a tackle in the backfield. I mean, that's not easy when you got a big defensive lineman all over you and you just run right through him.
Guy that finally made the stop, Tabubo and Yancey, the outside linebacker. Brock Berlin, you saw him kind of waving guys off like, I'm okay. I didn't really see what happened at the end of the play. Moss again hit. Georgia Tech stands him up and drops him down. And they'll take over. So Georgia Tech comes up with a big defensive play. DeJuan Landry and Kenny Scott with a stop.
Landry, the strong safety, one of the best in the conference at that position. It's too long for a field goal, so Larry Coker went for it. And I agree with that. I think more coaches should go for it on fourth down in here.
Especially when you got that kind of lead.
And especially when you got that kind of defense.
Exactly. So Georgia Tech gets another crack at it here. Late in the third quarter. Reggie Ball, a struggling day. 5 out of 19 for 43 yards. Their only positive yards have come on the quarterback running the ball, and here he goes again. And there he goes to the sideline as he'll pick up about 7 more.
Yeah, that's 7 yards. You know, the way he's been throwing it, he couldn't throw it for 7 yards. So if he's going to be in there, let him run it.
He's going to have more rushing yards than he is passing by the time this one's over.
I'm afraid that's going to be true. But like I said early on, I mean, there's been a lot of quarterbacks that have gone to the graveyard playing this defense.
He's got 11 more rushing yards right now than he has throwing it. We'll work out of the shotgun this time on 2nd down and 3. And he'll run again. And he'll get a 1st down again. And a penalty marker, might have been a face mask at the end of the play. I'm not sure. Just looked like his helmet kind of got cocked back in a weird way. No, it's going to be on Georgia Tech. Holding call. So just when they get a positive, they end up with a negative. Instead of being out at the 40, they'll be back at the 30.
On the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Kevin Tuminello, who came in for Andy Tidwell-Neal, the starting center, when he went out with the injury. So he's got his hands full with guys like Santonio Thomas and Orion Harris and those big fellas up front.
We just went from 3rd and 1 to 2nd and 12.
Yeah, don't you love that?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's only the 2nd penalty on Georgia Tech. They're all killers, but the 1st down compared to back at your own 26 is not good. That's Curry and Calvin Johnson that trotted right out towards you. They want to throw that way to the open man and do. That's Jimmy Dixon, the fullback. And Jimmy goes out to the 34. Antrell Roll made the stop out in the open field. It'll bring up a 3rd down and about 5. Next Saturday's Showdown Saturday on ABC. Our college football features 5 of the top 10 teams in the country. First at noon Eastern, it'll be number 5 Texas and number 2 Oklahoma. That's where Bob and Lynn and I will be. Then at 3:30, most of you are going to see the same Georgia Tech team against Ralph Region in Maryland, plus other regional action. Check the local listings for the game in your area. Showdown Saturday, October 9th next week. Hope you join us.
The Red River Valley game.
Yep, Red River Shootout. And now on 3rd down.
Georgia Tech.
Timeout, Georgia Tech.
Timeout.
And they're down to 1. So while we've got a timeout with 2:07 left in the 3rd, let's head to New York. Here's John.
Along with Aaron Taylor with the Pontiac game-changing performance of the week. Virginia Tech's Vincent Fuller showing up big time, baby. Returns his blocked field goal, 74 yards for a touchdown. Then later on in the game, intercepts quarterback Rasheed Marshall to seal the deal. West Virginia falls from the ranks of the unbeaten. They were the last one left in the Big East, 1913.
So a little return of Beamer ball there, huh? They win that one over number 7 West Virginia. And that was a lot of people's kind of dark horse in the whole BCS thing. Oklahoma, Adrian Peterson went over 100 against Cedric Benson at 188. So those two will have at each other or their respective defenses next week in Texas.
NC State comes back and wins in overtime.
And Wyatt Sexton, you said he looked like Brett Favre first couple series today.
I'll tell you what, I was impressed. It's the same thing. You know, these Florida State and Miami, 2 similar teams. Good defense, very good defense, good special teams, good offenses, and a struggling quarterback. You know, they put in Wyatt Sexton because Ricks is still out with the ankle injury, and he lights it up. Now, they may have found their guy. Miami, by putting in Kyle Wright a little bit, may have found their guy, maybe awakened some cobwebs in my man's mind and said, hey, I need to play well to win this job.
Reggie Ball incomplete on 3rd down on a slant pattern intended for Nate Curry. So Georgia Tech's got to give it up again. And a busy punter today for Georgia Tech.
Well, punting is not bad if you're an offense going against a good defense. You want to punt it. You'd rather punt it than turn the ball over. But you just have to score and take advantage of the plays when you have an opportunity to.
Art the punt. There's another nice kick. Boy, he hit that one a mile. Roscoe Parrish touched that ball. He's got to field it now. Georgia Tech knows it. And he weaves his way back to about the 9-yard line. So he tried the Willie Mays catch, and it cost him.
I think they found the punter for Georgia Tech here.
He's doing a good job.
He's done an outstanding job. Deep and at the corner. And the coverage is there also.
Roscoe had to go all the way back in his own end zone, actually. And then got it out to about the 9-yard line.
Cardinal sin for a punt returner to be running away from the line of scrimmage, trying to catch it as if he's a wide receiver going to the opposite end zone. It's tough with a punt.
Yep.
He is a wide receiver, as you know, Swanee, so he probably thinks he can do that.
They think they can catch everything.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, some of us can, and some of us can't.
Moss, the tailback again. He'll get the carry. And Tyrone goes out to about the 13-yard line. We want to welcome aboard to all of you watching today's game on AFN, the Armed Forces Network, in 178 countries and over 200 ships at sea. We're proud to have you with us, and we want to know that want you to know we all stand behind you as you defend our freedom. Swanee?
Well, that young man, James Johnson, right there, is a freshman wide receiver. He has an uncle, Herb, who's serving over in Turkey. And just a reminder, we've got men and women serving all over America, not just in Iran and Afghanistan, or Iraq and Afghanistan. And so, again, we send our wishes to them and for a safe return home.
Uncle Fred, glad you're watching. Hope you are. Penalty markers.
Herb,
excuse me. Both of them. He's probably got
Fred.
Ed Fred.
Number 71 on the offense. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
Derek Morse, the right guard. And they'll back it up inside the 10 again. False start on Miami with 1:10 remaining. The fans who came out in full force, a lot of them standing and wondering if there can be a big play by the Georgia Tech defense, something to light a spark.
That's what they need. They need a turnover by this defense to get them going.
And off to Moss again, broke a tackle and got out right about where he landed the last time. James Butler made the stop. We'll bring up third down. Butler's a good-looking player. Maybe an All-American type. He's an All-ACC on the All-ACC academic squad. And second-team All-ACC last year. He's a Thorpe candidate.
Yeah, one of the top safeties in the country.
I should have said second in the ACC in interceptions last year. That's what he was second in. Otherwise, first team everything. Third down along 7. Down the middle. What a catch that was by Moss. You got one Moss running, you got another one catching. And this Miami offense isn't gathering any moss. I'll tell you, it's looking pretty good today. That's Sonoris, Santana's little brother.
This is a good play by the offense. We got some guys blitzing in here. Here's the inside receiver. Moss just going to come right across. Good protection. Pick up the blitz.
Perfect throw.
Catches it with his hands and keeps going.
And that'll bring 3 quarters to a close on their first trip to an ACC road stadium. Hurricanes have the lead 27-3. Our presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. They're big, they're bad, they're Miami. New conference seems like the same story, though, doesn't it? The Hurricanes have title aspirations that go beyond the ACC. Georgia Tech loves the role of underdog. I don't know if the Yellow Jackets have enough to topple a new bully on the block, though. They're going to need a Clemson-type comeback in this fourth quarter to have a chance. 27-3 as we start the fourth. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan on our ABC crew at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. Brock Berlin at quarterback has had a career-high 3-touchdown passing performance so far today. He's looking for more, and he's going deep. Got a man out there, and Moss played nicely by Reuben Houston. It hit Reuben in the back of the head.
Yeah, just underthrew him. Couldn't keep up with the speed of Moss. Moss needed to do a little move or something, because by the time that Berlin got through with the fake, see, he just doesn't do anything. This is just a speed takeoff, and he doesn't have him beat that much. The ball is a little bit underthrown.
Say one thing for Reuben Houston, though. He's An all ACC performer in track. So if Georgia Tech's got somebody that can make up enough ground on that guy, that'd be the guy.
Why would you try to outrun him?
I don't know. Here comes a blitz. Moss ran right by it. Georgia Tech seemed like they brought everybody that time, and Moss went for a 3 or 4 yard gain. James Butler again had to make the stop. He and DeJuan Landry have been some busy safeties today.
Yeah, give a little shout out here to John Tenuta, the defensive coordinator for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. He's done an outstanding job. What a good guy he is, and always enjoy coming and talking with John.
We watched a lot of film yesterday with John.
Yeah, it's fun. Does a good job.
His defense looking to get another stop here on 3rd and 7. Berlin from the shotgun. Throws incomplete, just through the hands of Leggett. A little bit too wide. Beg your pardon, Darnell Jenkins, number 8.
See, that's on Berlin also. I mean, he had plenty of time. He could have released out to the side that he was throwing. He could have scrambled a little bit while he was waiting for the receiver. He says it was my fault. You know, you got to hit those. You got to do something. You just got to make the play. Do whatever you have to do.
Ryan Monroe, 3 punts so far today. He can air this one out if he chooses to. Mark Logan is back waiting for it. Nice kick. Logan dropped it at the 23, finds the handle at the 21, and then ran into his own man. Boy, that was a misfire.
That wasn't good. It was not good.
Let's see how Purdue did today. Let's check in with John in New York.
Time for the singular All-America Player of the Week, and Kyle Orton has been hot all season long. 97 yards to Taylor Stubblefield here. He had 385 on the day. If you want to vote later, text message the word player to 64444 or go on to ESPN.com, keyword singular.
Thanks, John. And now, are you a believer in your alma mater?
Hey, I'm behind him all the way. I just was a little worried about him going up to Notre Dame. I've been in that spot.
I think you can start officially mentioning Kyle Orton in that trophy in the same name now. If you really want to start it, it's October.
Yeah, you know, Notre Dame was playing well, and they were at home, and Purdue was on the road. That's an impressive win for Purdue.
Has Kyle Orton had a game so far where he has not thrown for 4 touchdowns?
I think he had a 3-touchdown game in there someplace, didn't he?
Oh, just 3?
The only guy that can stop Kyle Orton is Joe Tiller now. It's kind of the old Dean Smith, Michael Jordan theory.
Oh, yeah.
3 receivers to the left. Reggie Ball will run to the right. And High steps his way through some traffic. He's got a first down. And wisely goes out of bounds after he picks up 13 more. Well, Reggie will go back someday and look at this and say, I remember the day that I had 87 yards on the ground. The only problem was I only had about 51 through the air.
Yeah.
First down, Georgia Tech. Time is of the essence now. They need some scores, and they need them in a hurry. At the 43-yard line, first down for the Ramblin' Wreck. Play action, ball in trouble. Trying to scramble for what he can. Those linebackers are so fast. Tavares Gooden drops him for a 1-yard loss. Reminder, at the conclusion of our game today, we'll select a Chevrolet Player of the Game. Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Linebacker Tavares Gooden, who made that last tackle, talking with Randy Shannon this week. And all those linebackers are new. Of course, they lost John Vilma, who's a starter this year in the NFL, or will start tomorrow, I should say. DJ Williams was a great linebacker, too. And he said, you know what, I think Gooden is as good, if not better, than DJ at this stage of his career.
Right.
I'm not saying something.
Yeah, and they, like you say, they were both first-round picks.
Reggie Ball threatens the run and now slides instead.
Now that was a pass.
Yeah.
He wanted to threaten the run and then throw, but the safeties in the center of the field, it was a one-man route, had it covered.
And it was Levon Thomas that was the guy, number 7, that he wanted to find.
He wanted to get the ball to this man right here coming down the middle, Thomas. Watch, he's going to run a little bit. Thomas fakes like he's going to block. But like everything else, Miami's got an answer for it.
Yep, nobody open. This defense just getting better and better on every snap of the football, it seems. See what Georgia Tech can do on a 3rd and 19. Ball has a man open, and he underthrew Bilbo. Bilbo was there, the ball wasn't. And now there's a few boo birds out at Bobby Dodd Stadium. And a tough day for number 1.
Hey, it's a tough day for anybody quarterback playing Miami, and I've said that, and I'm getting tired of saying it, but you know, every time I see Reggie Ball, you know, join the club.
Yep.
Chris Ricks the first week, the freshman, the sophomore quarterback out at Houston.
Yep. Aren't to punt. Here they come. He gets the kick away. Not as good this time, but he does keep it out of Hester's hands. And it's going to go out at about the 39-yard line. 11:22 remaining in the ball game. Right now, Miami's Hurricanes in control on the road. Welcome back to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. It is Miami in the spotlight right now, the 4th-ranked team in the country, 27-3 and looking to go to 4-0. Kyle Wright back in at quarterback for Miami, as Bob said he would be. Frank Gore all wrapped up. Nice play by Eric Henderson. You can tell Eric's happy to be back out there. He was chomping at the bit when I talked to him yesterday.
Well, you got that right. You know, when it's when you're one of the better players on the team and you can't play for the first 3 games of the season, you do all the workout, you do all the training, then the season rolls around and you're injured.
He led the ACC in sacks last year and has 16 career, and now with that stop, I believe that's his 40th career tackle for loss, so that continues to climb the Georgia Tech all-time charts. Wright's in trouble, and down he goes. And it's Chris Reese coming around the corner. Last year, a safety who kind of played in space, kind of a rover back type. He's not the biggest guy in the world, only about 215, but he's a tough kid, and he's made some big plays today. Chris Reese out of Roswell, and there's Chris Reese with a jersey, but there's a different reason. That's my Reese. Yeah.
That's Reese Nessler.
Yeah.
And a good-looking gal. What is she, about 17?
Yeah.
Ness?
Yeah. Chris Reese said to us yesterday, maybe I have to meet her sometime. And then Swanee stepped in and said, Bob and I are her uncles, and you ain't getting anywhere near.
Yeah, you have to come through us.
Injured Hurricane player down, and it's Eric Winston. And boy, he is not only one of the best that Miami has, he's one of the best in the whole country, and he's not obviously in a lot of pain. Big guy that was a former tight end and moved out to tackle. He said, I'd like to get my hands on the ball like Shockey and those guys, but I know I'm a growing boy, and he's up to 310 now, and he's in a lot of pain. He's holding on to Brock Berlin's hand, and boy, that'd be a huge loss. Hopefully Eric's going to be all right. We'll check on him when we come back. There's 10:28 remaining in the ball game here in Atlanta. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. The new Chevrolets, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months, and American Revolution. Singular Wireless. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of First and 10. A little under 10.5 minutes remaining in the ballgame. Eric Winston helped to the sideline by Kevin Everett and Buck Ortega, 2 tight ends, and he was in a lot of pain. And we'll show you the play that he got rolled up on the sack of Brock Berlin by Chris Reese, and it just ended up being a pile in the back of his knee, and the knees don't go that direction. Right down the middle. And right down the middle to his tight end, Greg Olson. That's a first down. So look back at Eric Winston, the junior left tackle out of Midland, Texas. Here's the play.
Number 74. He's just going to get rolled up right there. You hope it's not a season-ending injury, but he walked off the field. He didn't put any pressure on it. He had 2 guys under him, and You know, Rashad Butler, the right tackle for the Hurricanes, has been out with a broken foot for the first 3 ball games, and he has just come back this week. He hadn't played today, but they get a tackle back. Now they look like they're losing one for a few games.
Timeout here with 10:07 remaining in the ball game. We'll take a timeout as well. We'll be right back. Our Pacific Life game summary in this one. A game that Brock Berlin has taken control. A career-high 3 touchdown passes. This one to Roscoe Parrish. He also threw a long ball perfectly to Lance Leggett. Frank Gore has been a big part of it too. His 6th 100-plus game, 115 today. And the other part of the story is that Reggie Ball has struggled for Georgia Tech and has had one of his worst days, 6 out of 22 passing with a couple of interceptions. So that's been the Pacific Life game story, and life will be better for Reggie, I'm sure, in another day. But against this defense, it's been tough.
Hey, they've got a lot of nicks on their belts, quarterbacks that they've shut down through the years.
Yep. Rashad Butler, who Bob just talked about, having coming back from the broken foot, was the guy with the false start. And so that's going to be a huge loss if indeed the injury to Eric Winston looked.
Yeah,
it maybe won't be as bad as we thought, but it sure looks like it.
And he's reacting on the sideline, and the players coming by like it's not good.
Yeah.
And they know. The players know.
At the 49. Wright comes up throwing, completes it to Leggett. Trying to spin away from Houston and can't. Rubin makes the stop, stays with him. And we're under 10 minutes.
The good thing about Brock Berlin, the game he had, the 3 touchdowns, is the one positive side. The other thing is he didn't turn it over at all.
Right.
All of his throws weren't right on the mark, but he made some plays, and that's what a quarterback has to do. You've got to make plays. Everything you do doesn't have to be perfect. You need to avoid turnovers and make some plays. In between, you can have some bad throws.
And that guy that he had his arm around in that shot on the sideline is Eric Winston, his left tackle. Here's Frank Gore. He's not done yet, I guess. Thought maybe Frank take the rest of the day off. He rumbles out near the 40-yard line.
Bob and Brad, they're getting Winston up on his feet onto a cart on the sideline. And he's got a couple of people helping him there. They have not given us an injury report in terms of what the injury may be. We obviously know it has something to do with his, more than likely his knee, his leg to some degree, but more than likely his knee. We'll try and get that official report in terms of the injury.
The word we're getting from the folks at Miami is down goes Wright again. 4th time he's been sacked, or 4th time Miami has been sacked, and Eric Henderson got a piece of that one. The Miami folks are telling us it's a knee injury, and obviously Eric Winston's day is done. We hope his season's not done. Well, we wish him the best. He's a good kid and a heck of a player.
And you know what? He's one of the biggest players, but he's almost the life of the party. He's always going around, kidding around, cheering everybody up, put practical jokes and that type of stuff, but he's not smiling now.
Nope. Monroe to kick. High punt. Hogan, fair catch inside the 10, about the 9-yard line. 38-yard kick and no return with 8 minutes remaining in the ball game. Back in the mid-60s, there was the young left-hander named Kim King. And he has been part of the Georgia Tech radio broadcast team and an integral part of this Atlanta community, both as a civic leader and as a very special friend to a lot of us. He's been one of the great businessmen in this country. And today, the locker room was officially named in the young left-hander's honor, and we congratulate him. Kim and his family were out here for the presentation at midfield in the Ramblin' Wreck at halftime, and Kim has been battling on and off cancer for several years. He's beaten it a couple times, and Kim, we know you can do it one more time. There's Kim and his wife coming out in the Ramblin' Wreck, and took Georgia Tech to an Orange Bowl and a Gator Bowl in those mid-60s. He played around the time Bob did and was a heck of a player, and given that nickname by my old friend Al Seraldo, who was the voice of Georgia Tech for years and years and years. And Kim had
Worked for all those years with Al, and it was always the young left-hander, no matter how old he got.
The young lefty.
Trying a little screen pass to Chris Woods, and the ball comes loose at the end of the play. Let's see. Miami's got it.
That's the third turnover for Georgia Tech today.
Glenn Cook comes up with a fumble recovery. Chris Woods put it on the turf.
Little play action, little screen back to Woods.
And out it comes.
It comes out. And Woods is in there because of the injury to P.J. Daniels.
So now it's 1st and goal, Miami, as if they needed any more presence. They just got a gift from Georgia Tech, and it's 1st and goal inside the 10. Kyle Wright at quarterback, Tyrone Moss the tailback, Quatron Hill the fullback, and it's Moss. Moss trying to keep his footing, and he's held up after he got down around the 7-yard line. So now Miami is shortly going to be 4-0. They're still going to be 4th in the country, but they won't move up because the last report we had is that Georgia was putting a licking on LSU, and Oklahoma has already won today.
They have next weekend off, and then the following Thursday play at home against Louisville, who is one of the surprise teams this year.
Louisville beat somebody today about 59 to something. I saw it on the scroll in the bottom. East Carolina.
East Carolina. Yeah. They're 4-0 now, Louisville.
Right, play action, bootleg. Here comes some pressure, and down he goes.
Yeah. See, he's learning some stuff, and he'll learn it best when they go back and watch the tapes of this game. And Dan Werner, the quarterback coach and coordinator, will say, when this happens, son, get rid of him. There's nobody else. When you know there's not going to be anybody else out there.
K. Michael Hall, the outside linebacker, is the guy putting on the chase and getting the sack.
Just get rid of it. And this is a learning experience.
Now, Bob, I would think that would be a lesson that this young man would learn in practice going against his own defense. Because I imagine in practice they put the same kind of pressure on him.
Yeah, but you know, Swanee, it's nothing like playing in a game. Everything happens so much quicker, and everything changes a little bit in the game. Well, it's not that way in practice. Well, it's that way in the game.
He ain't wearing a green jersey out here. Ball almost popped out of the hands of the wide receiver, Jala. He did find it the second time. Kenny Scott made the stop.
Almost looked like he tried to pitch that ball back to Roscoe Parrish.
Might be a little bit of fancy stuff going on here.
Almost looks like he wants to pitch this ball. Well, you know what? I think what happened is Parrish on the inside thought the screen was supposed to be to him and not to the Jala on the outside.
So now John Petty comes in. He's hit a couple today. This is a 44-yard attempt. Blocked by Georgia Tech. Might have been James Butler, but they stuffed it pretty good. No more points for Miami. Georgia Tech will have another chance on offense if they can get something going, but they're running out of time. (27-3), Miami leading Georgia Tech with 4:54 remaining in the ball game. And unless Georgia Tech can find some quick strikes and find them fast, they will fall to 2-2 and 1-2 in the ACC. And Miami will have its second Atlantic Coast Conference win after their opener beating Florida State in overtime. Reggie Ball, there's the same play. Now it's open. Levon Thomas. So they fake the run and pull up and throw.
Their first play of the day, Brad, if a lot of the people may not have been with us, was a 59-yard run. Since then, they've had 56 plays that have totaled 142 yards. There you see the play they tried to get. That's the one they ran in practice. It all depends on catching the right defense. If you catch the right defense, that play is going to work. And Chan was telling us the other day, we try to put him in the right defense by formation, so those plays will work.
Longest pass play of the day for Georgia Tech, 17 yards. Rashawn Grant across the 40 to about the 46. We talk about Miami's defense when we opened up the show today. They've allowed 1 touchdown in 58 possessions now. And remember, that touchdown was the Houston game on Thursday night. We were watching it, and I remember Houston got great field position. It started at about the 20.
Something inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
They got a turnover and went in and scored. That is the only touchdown that Miami's defense has given up.
Right. Second down and 8. Reggie Ball on the option to Rashawn Grant. Grant puts his head down and gets close to the first down, but not quite there. Well, it's that time of day, that time of the Saturday to talk about who's hot on Bob's list. Let's see who's hot. Well, thank goodness you got Purdue in there.
Yeah,
we had to fight you to put that in.
Yeah, I know, but when they beat Notre Dame, you know, Louisville's hot. The Auburn-Tennessee winner, they're going to be hot. And did you see the Navy game the other night? Navy Air Force.
Navy's kicker hadn't kicked one all year, but
he was 0 for 4, and I was just dying with him. And he kicked that field goal. And Navy now is what, 4-0? 5-0.
Jeff Blumenfeld on our hot list. Well, who's not? If that was the hot list, who's not right now? Let's take a look at that.
Well, we got a short list for this.
Well, we said East Carolina got 59-7 today.
State of Mississippi's not doing well.
Kobe Bryant's not hot, unless he's hot under Shaquille O'Neal's collar, I guess. Oh, boy. Well, every week it's something new. Reggie could be on that list right now, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But he's battled it today, and he's done a nice job on the ground. And he'll get some total yardage.
You know, he's had 2 weeks to prepare for this defense, too, and it's just
another interception. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Picked off by Devin Hester. Hester just switching over to defense this year after being an offensive performer last year. And they said, we want him to play special teams, both blocking kicks and running kicks back. And when he gets a chance to be in there in a nickel or dime package, we want him to do something just like this.
We're just going to try and run a straight takeoff straight down the field. This is Miami's 4th takeaway of the game. Watch the safety in the middle of the field. He throws it high enough, and Hester has enough speed. You know, one of the 2 Miami guys is going to get that one. It's way over Curry's head.
So Hester gives it back to the Canes offense. They just like to chew 2:33 off the clock here and head back home and not get anybody else hurt now that their left tackle's out. Moss breaks into the second wave. Big collision back there. And he'll pick up about 7. Time permitting, stick around for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. John, Craig, and Aaron will have scores and highlights from around the country. Some big performances today. Kyle Orton being one of them. Frank Gore is one of them. Whatever David Green's doing over in Athens right now is one of them. And Peterson at Oklahoma and Benson at Texas both had huge days.
Yeah.
And that sets up showdown Saturday next week in Dallas. And we'll be there to bring you that one noon Eastern, 11 Central.
You know, Brad, this win is a big win for Miami. It keeps them going on the road. Berlin, I think Berlin, this may be a turnaround game for him.
Yeah.
But even though it's a big win, the mood in that locker room and on the flight home will not be good because they know they lost one of their premier players, their left tackle in Eric Winston. You know, I don't care what team it is, what level, when one of your best players gets hurt and they know he's going to be out, you know, just take something off of the win.
No doubt. Andrew Johnson. And we're down near a minute. Tonight, you can see 2 of the season's biggest hits back-to-back. Bob was talking about this earlier. At 8/7 Central, the show many are calling the best new show of the year. If you haven't seen Lost, you want to watch it. Special 2-hour encore. It'll leave you on the edge of your seat. What the heck is out in the woods in that show anyway? Then at 10/9 Central, the best new reality show of the year. Wife Swap on a special night. 2 of the season's best, one special night. Lost and Wife Swap tonight starts at 8/7 Central on ABC.
I don't know if I want to find out what's out
I'm not sure I do either. Monroe's got a punt. And almost blocked again. In fact, they might have gotten a piece of it, but the ball had enough strength to get out of there. Pat Clark on the return. And they almost got the block punt.
Hey, Bob and Brad.
Yes.
I want to drop this in here. You know, Miami continues to try and make changes, improve. They lost their defensive secondary coach Mark Stoops when he joined his brother out of Arizona, but they hired Tim Walton, who came in from LSU, coaching that secondary, and you have to give him credit for staying with this team, coming in as a new coach, getting them trained up. And I asked him what the difference was between the secondary at LSU, a national championship team, and the team he got here in Miami. And he says the difference really is depth. He said at LSU we had some talent, but we're not as deep as these guys here at Miami.
And the one thing that Georgia Tech has absolutely none of, and to a coach they'll tell you they don't have any depth. And it shows up, and today they're going to lose at home 27-3 and disappoint a sellout home crowd, because they had hoped to pull one of those shockers, but there's nothing shocking about this other than how well oiled Miami looked, I guess. And now all the folks down in South Florida can sit back and say, you know what, that's a little more like it. I don't think they'll grumble about this win as Larry Coker heads over to meet Chan Gailey. And Larry is now 39-3 in his 4th year. And he's perfect in the ACC at 2-0. He's perfect at 4-0 overall. And he has the number 4 team in the country. Let's check in with Swannick.
Well, Coach, you come away with a good win, but more importantly, even than the win maybe, is that Brock Berlin maybe had his best game of the year.
Well, he did. He really had a great week of practice, and our receivers really stepped it up in practice. And I think we saw some plays that I'd seen in practice. We saw those plays today. It's amazing how that works. You execute in practice. Roscoe has been making some great catches in practice, made some great catches here. And Lance Leggett, I think we see some glimpses of what he can do. And I was happy for Brock because he really did step up today. And your running game seemed to work very well, but and I hate to bring up a negative, however, the injury to Winston. What is that going to do to your offensive line? Well, you know, again, that's we're disappointed, obviously. We're devastated for Eric. He's a great football player. And you don't lose players like that without having it affect you. So it's going to have an effect. But, you know, again, we'll move forward. You got a little bit of time off before your next game, but it would appear that your defense, having only given up 1 touchdown so far, may not need any rest. Well, I'll tell you what, they're playing awfully well. I'm really encouraged with what I've seen. Coach Shannon has done a great job with them. And we've got a tremendous challenge on Thursday night, next Thursday night, with a Louisville team, I believe, that's undefeated also. So it should be a great football game. Coach, thank you. We'll see you down the road. Thanks, man.
Larry Coker, winning coach today in the ACC. 27-3 is our final. And our Chevrolet players of the game, Brock Berlin with the game of his career with 3 touchdown passes. James Butler of Georgia Tech was in on 11 tackles and blocked a field goal. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. And you know, as happy as Brock looked on the sideline over there on the phone with that big smile earlier, you can see the smile is dissipated because he knows that his blindside protector, Eric Winston, is lost and may be lost for the season. 27-3, final score from Bobby Dodd Stadium in Grant Field. The Yellow Jackets at home couldn't handle the Miami Hurricanes, who blew into town and blow out with a victory. Final score, 27-3. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Don't forget to stick around. Thrifty Car Rental postgame report with John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor. Right now for Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our entire ABC crew, I'm Brad Nessler in Atlanta. 27-3, the final score. Miami over Georgia Tech.